Hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
going well.
Good, good.
Yep. So the blog that we're going to do next has to do with I'm trying to deal with mounds. So this has to do with mounds. So I'll just say it real quick, my thoughts, because then everything else we explain will make more sense. Because
Okay.
once again, it's not one way and not one DNA, and because reality is, yeah, people migrated and they didn't really have this need to stay into the Graham Hancock fantasy world.
Right.
Really did different stuff, and then so what I think happened is, just so people know, shamanism to me starts in northern Siberia near the Russian border, I think. And then
Okay.
I think it splits two ways. One goes towards the Americas, which actually goes into Paleo Siberia, a Russian Far East for people that want to look at a map. Because I've also have maps, but what I'm talking about. So then the other one, just to give the understanding, because also people will say shamanism is from Siberia, but they all think I mean the Barak culture or the ancient North Eurasians, but that's not accurate.
Okay.
To me, I'm saying. So I just want to explain, real quick with shamanism. So shamanism starts up there, goes to Russia first, and then it goes next to Czechoslovakia, buries the first female shaman after meeting the totemists, I think, that just came from Germany, originally from France, or some maybe version of both those.
Okay.
Anyways, but so those ideas come to basically they come to Austria, and I think people from Czechoslovakia just went down, or some version of they met each other, because after that point the previous totemists only, which also I think maybe themselves, maybe I don't know, started turning to shamanism maybe also.
Okay.
DNA, female DNA, is shooting multiple times, I think, into Europe. And I also think from maybe multiple ways. In other words, like R breaks off, some R stays in, say, Turkey, some are female R. I'm talking about, because not later
Right.
we're talking about male R. Female R goes to Siberia and then
Okay.
follows the gravitans into Czechoslovakia with U5, I think, because the other one is sending U8, U6. These are different versions. See what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But anyways, I know, and I think it also U1, U2 goes all the way to where the totemists were. So I don't know if, because at 35,000 they shift. Did they shift because U5 showed up? U2 or U1 showed up, and maybe they had pre-shamanism? Because I think what I think of more shamanism happens at 35. So
Okay.
anybody who left first in U1, U2 would have shot into Europe earlier. They may have had the proto-shamanism. I don't know. And so, because something happens to the totemists at 35, boom, they switch and become massively different. Where they're looking at the moon and they're doing, I think, moon, and other people do too, but and they start doing female stuff, like shit tons. And then that transfers over to the gravitans. They weren't doing anything in Russia. They show up in Czechoslovakia, right near people in Austria, and then boom, figurines from that on for the gravitans I'm talking about.
Okay.
This culture, I think, transferred. Anyways, so it goes from there, and then it goes back to southern Russia near the Cossack Mountains, and then it goes from there to the Barak culture. Then everything, I think, after that point, the whole world's mythology can center on that area of the Lake Baikal and the Altai Mountains area of Russia, and maybe also, like I said, a little bit of North China, a little bit of Mongolia, a little bit of also the other eastern, like Far East, a little bit of that of Russia, whatever, Siberia, whatever. So it's like a circle, whatever, and that's almost where the ancient North Eurasians were, anyways. I also think they had a language that they spread around, did all kinds of stuff when they were doing this, because they're spreading language, they're spreading religion, and their DNA. So there's multiple things are happening. It's not just one and done. No, there are multiple things. But anyways, so that once you get to that culture, like I said, then that's where a lot of the stuff we would recognize. I think from that point, when they get there, they're shamanists. They already have all kinds of stuff from all these previous, advanced versions of shamanism. So they get more of the full package, and that's why everything that leaves there seems like, oh, well, it's a full package. Well, because they had gotten it had been building along the way, and then by the time it got to there, it was the developed package, I feel.
Okay.
Of course, it evolves again more and more again, but that's like a core thing that kind of was like piecemeal along the way. Just my thinking. So I think when it left, going to the mounds, right? So I just wanted to get to how we get to the people that are thinking about the mounds, not like Graham Hancock, that these mystical, magical people were so great or whatever. He can't even explain where shamanism comes from, what it does. I'm not going to go into all about stuff about shamanism, but just to go back to the mountains. So shamanism, a lot of places, including most of the north, and China, and other places too, have an opinion of these mountain shamanism beliefs in mountains. Okay. I think that relates to the Altai Mountains in this area that I said everything comes from. So that stuff right there in the Altai Mountains. So everyone that leaves after 24,000 is what I'm trying to explain, is a belief in mountains. See?
Okay.
So not a belief in shell mounds, not a belief in turtles, not a belief in dolmens and kurgans. That shit, I think, comes later.
Okay.
It's once again, I'm sorry, Graham Hancock. It wasn't one and done. One person gave and created everything.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely wrong. That's what I'm trying to explain, of course, in this video and all my things and blogs and whatever, because I'm trying to get the accuracy. So I think mountain beliefs directly relate to there. And that relates to Axis Mundi, which is a shaman's belief that it's the center of the world, and it somehow is like the poles or whatever, or they can go and ride up there to heaven or whatever. People can come down. That also, I think, that coming down relates to like Sky Woman later, and the idea of the Earth Diver myth.
Okay.
Which I think the first one leaves, I think also, once again, wasn't full developed, Graham Hancock. Because that's not how shit works. Shit builds as it goes.
Right.
Right. Anyway, so I think it was more like Primordial Waters or something, and it's mainly spirits. There's no gods, I don't believe, at this time. It later, very shortly, becomes gods. But right then, when it leaves, it's mountain beliefs, Axis Mundi, but it relates to mountains, the Altai Mountains. And it goes to the Middle East, right? Because it gets to the Middle East by like 22,000. Some version of that stuff is already in the Middle East. So it's right there in Israel and Iraq and northern Iraq and Turkey, but southern Turkey and eastern.
Okay.
Anyways, so it's in this little nucleus area that is basically we would call the Fertile Crescent. So that's to the north end, but the Fertile Crescent, right? So they're there, and then so that's R1b, just so people understand that there's different things too, different going on. R1b. R1a goes across the north, like across the steppe. It goes like, in a sense, Lake Baikal, or say almost Mongolia, or China, so people get an idea where. There all the way to Ukraine.
Okay.
Goes all the way there, and it does that by, I think, 13,000 or something. Along the way, 11,000 years ago, I think that DNA, which is a little bit like later, the people that were there, make a totem pole that people found, like the oldest totem pole was 11,000 years old.
Okay.
A face that people think looks like Göbekli Tepe. Well, those people actually make it into the area almost directly lined, into area almost where, like, just south or right in the path of the Göbekli Tepe. They get there 12,300 or 200 years ago. So Göbekli Tepe starts a little bit after 12,000. So I mean, it's that DNA. So I don't know. Also, people need to understand. I feel that it's possible R1b might have came in more than once. Also, like it didn't just come in one time 22,000 years ago and never,
Right.
So I'm not sold that happened. I think it's a little more confusing than that. But even if so, for sure R1b, R1a comes in from going across the steppe to Ukraine and coming through the Balkans and shooting in through Western Turkey, into basically Arabia, or right in Turkey, and the area of Syria is the border almost area of where Göbekli Tepe is. It's like it's not like in the center of the country. It's like right on the border almost of Syria. I mean, not 100%, but I mean it's close. Anyways, in Iraq, it's like in a little hub area, because it's near the. I think it because remember, because that Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, both those really close. Anyways, the point is that I now think that it's possible that either R1b or R1a, who showed up almost in the same area, is the one that helps, because both of their DNA, our DNA is 50% of the people in Israel and 50% of the people that are in Turkey and all that. So they built it. Someone that's, like I was telling you before, I know the DNA is the ones that did it, because they're literally 50% of everybody. So right. So I think that relates to that, right? And that, I think, my personal opinion, it's kind of like a medicine wheel kind of concept, and I think it also might be related to, because it's actually kind of built on a hill, Göbekli Tepe. It's not like built in the flatlands or in like a gully or something. It's built on a high, which I think once again relates to mountains. My personal thing, coming from mountain areas and stuff, so they come down mountain beliefs and go out, build this center of the universe right on top of the mountain, and it'll be our temple. And I think it also relates to sky burial and all kinds of other stuff. But anyways, doesn't matter. So those concepts, I think, show that it's a mountain. To me personally, it's on top of a hill, middle of nowhere, and they built, a thing on top of that. Okay. And they were already going there before Göbekli Tepe had any stones. They were already 13,000 years ago using that like a ritual campsite for something. So I think, but I think they're already worshiping the mountains. It's not they worship the stones. People got like, when you see these monuments, don't focus on the stones or even how big, like all these fake bullshit. Just think, why did they do that? What does it take to get people together to do that? Right. Yeah. It takes a lot of, it's not, because you always say, oh, technology. Yeah. Do you realize if you had all the technology, but you don't have a good labor force, that shit's never getting done? Exactly. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, man, once again, not to bring in capitalism, but this is probably a good segue to bring into capitalism. But I will address that kind of stuff after, because I just want to finish my concept, because I'd like to talk about that too. But I was saying this brings up to capitalism. That I feel like they look and they go, well, somehow they did that. I mean, but really think it's a workforce, because people don't think about, because of course people don't think about workers. Remember, Göbekli Tepe had to have alcohol for people. They had more than one trough of alcohol, or some sort of an alcohol oats stuff, or not oats, but I mean it's probably emmer wheat or something, or acorn wheat. Can't remember which one was there, but anyways, maybe both. But those, in a sense, wheats were like it was like a fermented porridge, probably, or something. So they're feeding people, and it's probably alcohol too. But once again, I don't think that people understand it right. I don't think the alcohol was like we would think of it now, as in like, oh, we're going to get high and have fun and it doesn't mean anything. No, I think it means we're going to commune with the ancestors, and because they're going to probably do in a sense, it's not exact, so people don't think I'm using words wrong, but a powwow or something. I mean, like it's a thing of indigenous people that get together. And I'm also not saying it's indigenous related to capitalism. I'm just saying that this kind of organization that takes, because you have to have food. So people are bringing in food from farther away, right? And they're hunting, so to do it, right? So they're also making alcohol. Someone has to do that, takes labor, right? And then someone has to even give it out or whatever, or manage it. There's 2 troughs, and it has to be replenished. So someone's got to get water too, because you're on top of a mountain. It's not like there's a spring shooting out of the mountain. You're gonna have to bring everything in, right? Just because I feel like when people talk about Göbekli Tepe, they get lost in like the grandeur and forget that takes humans. Humans need food, they need shelter, right, or some kind. And they need, some place to be and to go to the bathroom. I mean, I'm just making a comment. So And they need a lot of people to move stones and to build rope. Well, there's not a lot of trees there, so that they need rope or some kind, they're going to have to bring it once again from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I feel like you get what I'm saying. So I feel, and just like obsidian is not right there on top of the mountain. They have to go and resource it to make tools or to carve rocks or whatever. I'm just saying that don't get focused right on I can't move that. Think about what would it take, not aliens, an actual bunch of humans to do this.
Yeah,
and then they then realize 11,000 something years ago is the first mace head, which I think relates to authority.
Okay.
Now, wouldn't that be interesting? Because it's about 11,500 that Göbekli Tepe's built, which took some sort of authority. They keep saying, I don't know how these hunter-gatherers did it. Well, they did it with authority. That's how.
Yeah, that's right. Somebody was making them do it.
Right. So this is important because I feel like, also remember 12,000 years ago, a time that the other people showed up is the time of slavery. They believe the origins that it relates, and wouldn't that be, I'm not saying Göbekli Tepe is built by slaves, but I'm just saying this sort of mentality of hierarchy has now come.
Yeah.
And this is the place that it starts. For anarchists, this is important, I would think, because we care about hierarchy. Where did hierarchy start? I think it really started here. It might have actually, Ptolemies 40,000 years ago in France or Germany may have invented it, maybe even invented it in Siberia by the shamans, but I don't think so.
Right.
Totemis have probably better stuff because they're more like telling you what to do. Shamanism is more about how to help you with the afterlife or spirits and stuff. So I don't feel they're the same thing. Like I told you before, one's more like the religious world, one's more like the secular world.
Right.
In a sense. But even though it's not secular, of course, because the whole thing is a religion, so it absolutely can't be. And also, I don't think it's like a religion by itself. It's like a religion element. Both.
Right.
So they can be put in like any other religion. You can be, I'm whatever. You could even say I'm an atheist and I'm a shaman, because you could say I believe in afterlife, I just believe in God. I'm not claiming that or would think that is reasonable, but I'm just making a comment that it could happen. It's not an impossibility. Anyways, so to go back to the thing. So the Middle East does this, right? It's at 11,000 or 12,000 that the first shell mound is in Africa. Well, here's an interesting thing. It's about 12,000 to maybe even 15,000 that people from R1b created the religion to shoot into Africa and go all the way to the culture over in North Africa, like Morocco. Went all the way over there, okay? So the shell mound being in between these two things, like it's like the people from, say, Israel or Palestine. So this area, right, shoots all the way across to North Africa's, the whole way, all the way to Morocco.
Okay.
So they know this genetically. They used to think that those people were from somewhere else, but nope. I can't remember, but once again, it's not 100%. I can't remember off the top of my head. But my point is, I'm just trying to say, so that in between that at 11,000 something is the first shell mound. So I'm just saying is it could relate to the people going across. I don't, or coming back because the culture was kind of big. So I don't know, because it's in Libya. That's I think the oldest shell mound.
Okay.
And it's interesting too because it has snail shells. Now, if you go to that blog and look at the picture, you'll start to understand what I'm saying, because now we're kind of getting to that point.
Okay.
So, you see the star. I know you know where Africa is.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And then there's a star in the middle of the continent of Africa with two shells next to it.
I see that.
Right. Now we're on the same page. So this is what I'm trying to explain. So these shells are snail shells.
Right.
And snail shells become massive all over the thing within 11 and 10,000. See all those red dots? Those black and red dots all over the Mediterranean?
Yep.
And then there's some over there by the Caspian Sea. It's actually near the Cossack Mountains. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5.
Oh yeah, yeah.
5 dots, 5 red dots. So now that's interesting because that almost is the origin area of X.
Okay.
X2, whatever, that shoots out, to Lake Baikal and then gets over to Canada with X2a in the Shell Mound at 7,700. Remember we talked about this last time?
Right.
And you said you liked it, the fact that one side was France at 7,000 and one side was Labrador, Canada, indigenous people at 7,700, so 700 years before France.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about this? Yeah.
Yep.
So this is like explaining it in more detail and then but showing why it's more important than I talked about before. Before I was just trying to talk about shell mounds, which this still actually relates to. And so nothing's changed. It's just I'm now adding like an extra layer of detail because everything I do, is real complicated. And here's what the funny thing is: the truth is really complicated.
Yeah. Yeah,
right.
That's right.
So those shells have to do that, put that place in Africa. But if you notice the gray should all be considered related to the same DNA. And what that same DNA on both sides is the gray relates to the X2. Do you notice how that star is inside the X2 radiant?
Right.
Yeah. So it's not crazy to think that maybe all the shell mounds that relate especially to the snails, which end up going all the way towards the Caspian Sea near the Cossack Mountains, actually are somewhat related. That's what the one guy wrote an article on. Why that's important to us is because shell mounds origin is literally right there. Then they go all over the place, and this is helping explain why that may have happened. So I think it starts there, but it relates to the people from the Middle East, I think, and also the people who were the female DNA. It could have been R1b or R1a, but one of those DNAs, right? But the females one is I think the one that's what the gray is. It shows going into that area. So that's the important part, just showing that it's part of that. And all those other dots, right? All those other red dots that relate to the snail shells, shell mounds, are in that X2 also. You see that? All of them.
Yeah.
So just to help you understand. So that the darker portion of the X2 gray is like more the heartland, like where it starts, just so you can get like an idea. So okay, this is where it starts, then it spreads out. The hub in a sense. So on both sides, the one in the Middle East, which I know is hard to see because there's so much crap going on.
Right.
And then over in Canada, you can in North America, you can see it over there, right?
Yeah, that is quite a large area.
Right. Yeah, it's bigger than where it started, right? Yeah. Anyways, but this helps you understand that and also the DNA of that burial had X2a. And then you understand, Kennewick man, and he has DNA that has female X2a.
Right.
So that shows it came over with together. Now this has Q. Now, but this is important to understand. And I know DNA can be hard for people. This is what you already getting this, Corey. This is Q DNA he has on the male side, but it is a specific branch, and this is where people have a problem and get confused. Is because different Qs kept coming in. This one is QM3. It is not all over the what do you call it? It's not all over the Americas. You understand? So it's not a big. It is. I mean, there is a big amount of it, but it's not as big as other ones. Like the one that comes, the QDNA that comes from and I know I hate to bog down this stuff, but it helps to understand who's doing things. Not just, like I said, the big like Q or say R does stuff, okay? So most of the Q, right, in South America and in Mesoamerica, right? Those DNAs specific version of Q is QM242. And that's found at 94% of the indigenous peoples of Mesoamerica and South America.
Right.
So that is not, you get this right, Corey, that is nothing to do with QM3.
Right. These are different strands of DNA.
Yes, Corey gets it. So these people come in first and they do this. They drop the Kennewick man. They relate to the Dolmens, to me. Another one comes in later and it relates to the Dane or Nadane languages.
Yeah.
Or not Maybe it's I'm people, I apologize. When it comes to, I have, my knowledge is understanding how the DNA and the cultures and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Pronouncing the names. Sorry. I mean, I should, but I suck. People are good at, I'm not good at math. There's something, I'm not very good at English. So spelling names and pronouncing them right, suck.
I'm also not very good with pronunciations, especially like outside of my wheelhouse. Like,
right. Yeah. Well, and my stuff I always have you do is like way outside. Like,
yeah. So it's always like I'm struggling to say the names and yeah.
Right. But I'm sure, but anyway, so I want you to understand that it's
right.
It's complicated. It happened multiple times. That's why it's so hard to understand. And the answer absolutely has nothing to do with Graham Hancock and R1b nonsense. But anyways,
yeah,
I digress. Look, now on this picture too, like Lake Baikal. Do you see that?
Yep.
Because this is, as you already figured out, right? This is a super important, because everything goes to and from this like multiple times. And so that's why it is like a hotbed of all the world's ideas in a sense, because literally it came and went to that place.
Right.
Even though we don't know about it or didn't know about it, that doesn't mean that it wasn't super important to, paleo people or whatever.
For sure.
So the first thing that happens, that is, like I said before, if you look at it, R1b, which is the darker color one, that comes out, it goes first to the Middle East, and there's 22,000. Then the next thing comes is R1a. And like I told you, it goes around Ukraine and goes through the Balkans into the same spot almost that R1b went to. But this time, like I said, it's more like North Arabia, the farthest port it got to, by 12,200. And then the other lighter one says R2a. See that?
Yep.
That comes down 10,000 years ago. I think, my personal opinion, is it brings the ideas of the Proto-Indo-European language, and I think it brings pottery.
Okay.
So you notice it's not, once again, like, so you say R, it's the R's are the different R's, different times, and maybe even involve different things.
Yeah, like, so the R in general just means they have a similar root or the same root, right? But then one, 1A, 1B, and 2, these are all different branches, kind of off the same root.
That is correct. Exactly. So you're getting it. That's why I keep over and over again saying stuff. Because also, remember, it's not just because I just want to harp on these numbers, because it helps to know accurately, because then when they say nonsense, we're like, wrong.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So going back, sorry, real quick, going back to the QDNA that we already said, the one that's 94%, because they don't, so for some reason people don't put these together, but they should. So 94% of them, where do the 94% come to? The next highest thing of M242 is found in the Dane speakers at a rate of 68%. The highest frequency of the Nadane, 92% of being QM242, is found in Navajo.
Okay.
But like I told you, it actually also goes back to the Tlingit. And if you look at it, that's really where everything goes back to.
Right.
As far as when it relates to later mounds, see, all the mound cultures have cDNA that relates to Nadane, the C217. But see, but also in the Tlingit and the Dane is the QM242, and they may have actually gone close to each other, and they both went to the same spot and then shot out from there. So the ideas, once again, are going to be somewhat similar to the Pacific Northwest. Right. So, and you notice Kennewick Man is in the Pacific Northwest himself, or was found. So, right. So the importance to me is also along these same routes, okay, as far as like the Middle East. So are these little green things, like they say turtle barrel. One of them does. More than one, but the turtle barrels. Okay, there's one in Africa at 7,000. There's one in China at 9,000. There's one in Germany at 9,000.
Yep.
And then the ones in the Middle East are 17 to 15,000. I don't know how old, somewhere in there. And then the other one's around 12.
Okay. Yep.
So, and then when R1b shoots into Africa at 8,000, that's the turtle barrel is found at 7,000, and it's almost the area where they go. I personally think that the ideas of turtles starts in the Middle East. I think mountain beliefs, remember we were talking about before, comes down R1b, mountain beliefs. But they're down in the desert and then by the sea. They don't have, they have some hills, but I think that it spawned the idea somehow of turtles being related to that, to the mound of creation I'm talking about, like mystical ideas.
Right.
And so then it's buried with the shaman in Israel at 12,000. Then the next thing, remember, all these 12,000. That's right. Before the time of all the shell mounds. 11,000, 12,000. And or 12,000 and 11,000 first one, then 11,000 and 10,000 are all the other ones in that area. Remember, in the whole Mediterranean. So to me, this is a related idea. This is spreading around. And you notice that all the DNA helps to be involved, like I said. So then I think when it leaves to the Lake Baikal is 12,000. Okay. So I don't know if what time actually the other one, because there's in a sense X2b.
Okay.
And X2a, X2b goes to France. Remember I told you about it being different? That's if you see the orange line goes to France.
Yep.
Oh, I realized I put R2b there. I think it should be X2b. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to edit that.
It says X2b up above in the...
Yeah, but then do you see like in the curve I put R2b? What the heck? Yeah. Uh-oh. So people, I'm going to have to edit that because I think that's actually supposed to be X2b. Yeah, I just... I can get tired sometimes. This stuff, as you see, it takes a lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, so the orange, so 9,000, they're burying the shaman female with horns on her head in Germany with a turtle. And then at 8,800, which is almost 9,000 in China, they do it. Now, you would think, well, we need to ask, is there anybody in China? Because X2 is not found really in China. It's not, doesn't show up as like a normal DNA, right? In China at all. Like, I'll just explain to you. So I'll read it. I mean, from Wikipedia, so you can grasp. Okay, so X2 is found in North America, Europe, Western Asia, or like, the Middle East, which I already showed you, it actually starts there. North Africa, Horn of Africa. See, that's the main places.
Yep.
You notice it doesn't mention
China. Say China.
Right. Problem is, it's also X2, I think it's X2e, I think maybe, is in Lake Baikal area or whatever, Siberia. And so it's it branched off along the way about probably 12,000 years ago, which tells you probably 12,000 years ago they're there in Lake Baikal, and then by 7,700 they're burying the dolmen.
Okay.
So the idea is, if it came from the Middle East, which it looks like dolmens did, or possibly some change happened in the Middle East with the mountain beliefs changing in the Middle East. They obviously started talking about turtles. That's something new. They did snails. That's something new. That you know what I'm saying? Shell mounds was something new. But all of this, I think, relates back to mountains and Axis Mundi, because a lot of mounds in America, which are made of dirt, or shell mounds, actually were believed to be Axis Mundis, and even turtles or mounds of creation or whatever, or they're buried by bodies of water. So, because like the Egyptian myth is that the pyramid comes out of like the water, so it's an emergence myth where that's not that different from the emergence myths of the turtle, or the mound being built up on top of a turtle's back or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, anyways, this is my thinking. So because also the artifacts, I think, kind of support this. So X does make it to China, right? And there's an article, just in case people think I'm lying and want to go look. The article is called "The Genetic Structure of Chinese." I'm just going to read the letters because I don't know. Hui, it's HUI, ethnic group revealed by complete mitochondrial genome analysis using massively parallel sequencing. And it was in 2020.
Okay.
Just so people, because I'm totally have evidence, so I don't have to hide anything.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you, go look it up. Anyways, going back to what I was saying. Where is it? So that group, right? They are the ones that have a frequency of X, and they have a frequency of X2. So they actually have more than one kind of X. So, and it's the Hu ethnic group in China. Okay. And they're in North China. And I know that you probably have heard about them before because they are a Muslim minority.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they are being persecuted in China. Anyways, just to bring up that people understand. And but this place, it doesn't have much though, because it's like 90% or so of their DNA is considered East Asian lineages, which X2 is not, right? It's Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say Europe, but actually it's from the Middle East originally. But anyways, so my point is China does have X2, and it's in a certain area. So I'm just saying that belief in the turtle shell that ended up in China, I really feel came from Lake Baikal and came down. The idea is, and I'm just showing a connection that there actually is X2 in China.
Right, even if it's not associated specifically with that.
Even if you're correct, because if you go to like Wikipedia and look up X2 or X, whatever, it doesn't show China. Right, because it's not a big thing, but that doesn't mean there's not some connection down there.
Right.
And anyways, but it could have came later. But my point is, I am telling you, I think the ideas went down or intermingled. It is a fact that almost from that area, just a little bit north, to where there's like those two, that one turtle in China, right? Then it has like a little pointy thing that sticks out in the water.
Yep.
And then the other side has another little pointy thing.
Yep.
Well, the spot right between both of them, that part is where the Trans-Eurasian language has come from.
Oh.
And the Trans-Eurasian languages have to do with like the Korean and Japanese and Mongols and Turks.
Okay.
So they all come from that area. Well, that area does go up to China. I mean, not China. Goes up to Lake Baikal 9,000 years ago. And I think it's possible that some of those ideas came back. The people went up there and some people came back. Everyone just didn't go up there and stay and never came back. So I have a feeling that those ideas came back, and if it came back at 9,000, then by 8,800, it's not unthinkable that those two shells are connected, I think. So I'm just explaining how. And then, of course, as on the other side in France and Germany, when when X2b goes over first to like Finland, or not Finland, just south of that, Estonia or whatever that is, but in Russia, and then it goes, in Russia, then it goes cuts through Germany, and it makes it to the area in France that like sticks out a little thing. When it goes through Germany, I think 9,000 years ago, it gives the ideas that relate to the burial of the turtle shell there.
Right.
So I really think that there's a deeper connection to all this stuff. And seeing the one in France, the 7,000-year-old one, that's a picture of it.
Right.
And then 7,000 years ago, or 7,500 years or so, ideas from the Middle East shoot up into the Samara culture, which is that little white and gray box. You see that?
Yep.
And then it shows they made one of the first kurgans. So you see what a kurgan is?
Yep.
It's a mound with a little like house inside with a burial. And some of the dolmens were like that too. The dolmens were covered with dirt.
Okay.
Not 100% of them, but a large portion. Because once again, they're kind of like the same thing. One's a cement house, one's a dirt house. They're for graves. And pyramids later are just a thing on top that's more sharp shaped, and still has a house inside. So to me, it's like I said, I'm trying to show you is I think all this stuff, and in fact, the Cossack Mountains, right? They have dolmens, right. And one of the dolmens is kind of pyramidal shape,
right?
So literally, once again, showing, it is the same thing or similar thing. Not same thing, but you get what I'm saying. These are not like because I know it sounds strange when I say pyramids relate to dolmens, relate to shell mounds, relate to mountains. Some people are like, what, But the more you learn, the more you realize, wait a minute, these things are kind of doing similar things, and they're going to similar places.
Right. They serve similar purposes. They,
exactly. Because to see the area in the pink lines in Germany and Sweden.
Yep.
That's the funnel beaker culture. It's 6,000 to 5,500. And these oldest graves considered of wooden chambers, right?
Okay.
Chambered cairns, inside long barrows, but later were made of passages of graves and dolmens. See, so it started so kurgans are wood and dirt, and dolmens, they're saying that in that pink area, start with wood and dirt and then turn into stone and dirt in a sense.
Ah,
so once again, I'm showing how they're really not that different. These ideas that, we've classified as all kinds of different things. Yeah, well, there are different, but they're also, I think, related mythologically, and they're all doing, a lot of these are doing graves. So
right. They're
doing the similar behavior. So I'm just trying to show how these things are connected.
Yeah, like the idea doesn't have to stay stagnant for it to be from the same idea, right?
Right. And also people get confused because they're like, how can there be dolmens in France and dolmens in Canada and them not be connected? And I'm like, well, they are, but just not the way you would intuitively think they are.
Yeah, that's right.
You would think shortest point across the water.
Yeah, it's a much more roundabout kind of,
Yeah, no, fuck no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to help explain what did happen. So, and then look at how it matches the evidence along the way. It's not like, and then amazingly, right, that the ideas, the next oldest ideas of dolmens are in the Cossack Mountains, right near the place that the stuff left. And they go, it's not related. I'm like, I don't know.
Seems like it might be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but so I think that the dolmens, right, relate actually because the ideas go back down.
Mm-hmm. With the DNA, right?
What's that?
With the DNA.
Right, the DNA. But also the idea, these people are trading. So in other words, the people in the Cossack Mountains are trading with the people above. And this goes back to my thinking too.
Yeah.
Real quick about language. So this culture, I do think, was Proto-Indo-European, but I do not think they spoke exclusively Proto-Indo-European.
Right.
Right? Just so people understand my thinking. They also have QDNA there, or somewhere in the area. Let's put it this way, because I think, personally, to me, QDNA or Proto-Nedane, which I talked about before, which of course also goes over, and does relate to Siberia.
Yeah.
There's QDNA in Sumerians. Not in everybody in the entire area, but in Sumerians, which I do think Sumerian language, they're like, where'd it come from? And I told you, they've been thinking that maybe it relates to the Cossack Mountains or Nedane or Yensen, which is the QDNA main language.
Right.
Yensen gave birth, in a sense, or relates to Nedane.
Yeah.
So let's look at that picture real quick, so that because then Nedane is important. I want to talk about it real quick, so I'll just send it to you because it's in the blog, but I don't want to go off of what we're doing.
Okay.
So because I wanted to just explain, because I know a lot, and I throw so much stuff at you that if you're not looking at it, it can be hard. So you looking at the thing now, the Yensen language, and it goes over.
Yep.
And it relates to that stuff. And then I'm going to send you another one that also has Yensen, but it has the NDNA that also goes over. Because once again, NDNA goes over, QDNA goes over to the Americas, CDNA goes over to the Americas. These are the ones that made the cultural stuff that everyone else is trying to say relates, or like Graham Hancock, or his one theory on his blog that it's R1b. No. That's not the way to explain that, and that's not what happened. But remember too, my stuff is all about showing evidence, and his stuff is I have ideas, and no, there's no evidence to support them.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is, to me, is, well, then fucking I'm stopped listening to you. Okay, so I sent you the next picture.
Okay.
Of that explains a little more of the Yensen. The pink Yensen shows how it's spread. Later, as we know it today, it's the darker purple.
Mm-hmm.
But it also shows NDNA goes right through Yensen. And it goes, in a sense, all the way up to where it says the Naganus. I don't know how to pronounce that. Naganessa or people, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
N1C.
Yeah.
So it goes up to those people. Anyway, so and then also some N goes over to the Americas, because if you see the green writing over under Alaska, it says NM178 in the Dane in North America.
Yeah.
So anyways, they're just trying to show you that all this stuff, going back to the same thing, like when Graham Hancock or people that, like, well, the pyramids seem similar, or look at how the dolmens, Damien, it must have, been a white seafaring culture that did it all.
It doesn't have to be.
That's not the answer. Right. And I try to put all the data, the archaeology, the mythology, the the DNA and the cultures, and try to put them in order so you can see really what happened, or what more than likely happened. So, I mean, I think it's important. So then once all this stuff is happening here, right, also it's important to understand QDNA and maybe even R1a or something goes to that, or in the area of where it says 7,500 years ago Samara culture, which is the origin of the horse burial and the first kurgan, which are considered to be associated with Proto-Indo-European, especially elite and kings and all that, which I think, and also that they bury it to the sky god. So the sky god, people understand, like I said before, is actually the sun, but they don't call it that, and they because it's not limited to that. They also think it's the blue sky behind the sun,
right?
Not knowing that actually that's why it looks blue. Well, Well, I'll send you a picture so we can see what I'm talking about too, about the sky god, because I know other people are not as even as advanced on that concept, maybe even as Corey is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you a picture of Sky God and Earth Mother, and also there's Sky Mother too. But so this is important because once again, this has to do with, and I just sent it to you. So the Sky Father. So the later periods, from like I think it's certainly from 4,000 down. A lot of them in the steppe, they buried those kurgans and they dedicated it to the Sky Father. This relates to that. And if you notice, they're all over the place, just like the DNA and all the stuff in the first picture, right? Yeah. The first picture is showing you also why all this stuff is all over the place.
Yeah.
And how it all kind of back centers on Lake Baikal. That's why it's important to understand that. So the Sky Father, and if you notice, Lake Baikal has a Sky Father and Earth Mother. So yeah, duh. But actually, all that yellow does.
Okay.
Just like all of the orange above it,
right,
is also the similar thing. And in the red, the red is interesting. Why I put two, because they have two kinds. They have Sky Father, Sky Mother, which I think she relates to stars and the moon, and then Earth Mother, which relates to the Earth. Now, in Africa, there's the thing that, but Egypt has it's different. It's a Earth Father, Sky Mother, and she's like the star or whatever, or the moon.
Right.
So, yeah. Anyways, but this is still, and in the Americas, you notice they have different versions too. Yeah. They have Sky Mother and Sky Father in the Algonquin languages. But the Nadane is Sky Father, Earth Mother. And see the people in South America, which one are they?
In South America, that's the Sky Father and Sky Mother?
That's correct. And they match Mexico. And actually, speaking of shell mounds and traveling by ocean, these people migrated down from California and Mexico down, and some people later, like 1100 or I don't know when it started, but they started going back up from Ecuador and Peru. They started going back up, especially because they're going the coast looking for shells and for things. So there's trade between cultures. Anyways, once again, because that's more reality, not white people did it. No, indigenous people were going back and forth, interacting with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's Damien's theory. I know, crazy of me. It's the indigenous people that did it. I'm just trying to explain how and what the complicated process was.
But where's the white people that saved everyone?
Yeah. I don't know. In the myth, I mean, they are in a book that's called the Mound Myth, of Great White Hope or whatever. Yeah, which actually is totally nonsense, and especially when you see it, it is nonsense.
Yeah.
This also shows too that when they try to say that because X2 is also in, I think, Ashkenazi Jews or whatever, that means that the Book of Mormon's correct because Jews went to the Americas, and I'm like, yeah, that's not right. The Jews, let's just say there were Jews. There weren't at this time because they're under 4,000. Actually, probably 3,000 something. But anyways, there wasn't a Jews. Period. That's a later concept. So even if we bought that concept, that means that they went to Lake Baikal 12,000 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And since the Book of Mormon says that they were the ones that wrote some of the Bible, which is like 4,000 and under, this has nothing to do with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Clarifying for people, nothing. That's like saying that, well, I must be related to Africans then, so, which is true, 70,000.
Yeah.
So then whatever happens in Africa, it's just my family, that's not totally understanding the DNA.
Yeah.
It's a little more complicated than that. Yes.
Yes, we're related, but no, it's not like my cousin.
Right. Yeah. Right, exactly. But I mean, so you notice though, once again, it's people taking ideas. They're not flying. They're not doing it by boat too. They're doing it by land. You notice that?
Right. Yeah.
In both
Everybody's
ways,
traveling
right?
by land.
Lots of land. So once again, his theory debunked on its fucking face because it was not by water.
Yeah, because his whole thing is it was a seafaring race, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No. So that's also incorrect. And it didn't go one time, so that's also incorrect. And it wasn't the same people, so that's also incorrect. Like, well, you know what, though? He does admit there is no evidence for his thinking. So
he does say that, yeah.
Yeah, that part is correct. There is no evidence for his theory. Yeah, that is incorrect. All right, so now I want to go to just read the stuff below that thing where it says Earth Diver.
Sure. So Earth Diver mythology or something similar. Could be, in a way, snails are kind of a mound shape, thus similar to turtle shells. Both may represent a mound of creation in the Earth Diver myth. In Peru, there were snail shells, and snail shells are also used in the Earth Diver. My thoughts on dolmen origins and migrations, as well as Snail Shell Middens or Snail Burials / Turtle Shell Burials, and links from why DNA R or R1a, R1b, and R2a migrations may be R2 leading to Proto-Indo-European, transferring it to R1b, taking it over to the steppe 7,500 years ago. Religion is a cultural product, so it has been part of the human experience, similar to languages, from before we left Africa, spreading humanity across the world. Dolmens, to Damien, like other types of mounds.
Well, let's go back first. So what you read so far, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we looked at, right? Like the DNA moved across, and it makes sense when you look at the shapes of the things to say, hey, this, and I really think that like the purpose of them being similar too, like there's always burial in them,
right?
Like
It is
dead bodies buried. Like I don't know. It just makes sense to me that this is all shared ideas that are spread throughout, right?
Right, but what I'm trying to show though, I think, is mountain beliefs come down, but shell mound and turtles and snail shells go back up.
Yeah.
So and
it's
then
the
ideas of Earth Diver, which now have all of it, goes over to the Americas. Ta-da! It seems totally fucking logical and matches the evidence. Speaking of Earth Diver, I'm going to send you Earth Diver real quick so you can see. Actually, before that, I'm going to send you the thing of to prove that the star or the sun, it relates to the Sky Father, because everybody. But it's incorrect to just say it's the sun. Just to understand, because some of them think it's more than that. But I'm trying to show you how they all relate. It's really relating to the daytime sun.
Okay.
Because it's not the morning sun, which is considered a goddess or sometimes a child of the god. Could be a male son, but a female daughter is more common. Because usually the female daughter is the thing. Sometimes the wife is the one at night.
Okay.
And also the one at the moon. They call it the morning star. But sometimes the wife can be the morning star because it's a female generally, or commonly. I should not say generally, but commonly it is. But it's but that they're children in a sense, or partner of the sun. So just understand this. So sun, but it makes the blue sky. So the blue sky is not a storming sky, which can be a storm god. Just understand. I know. I understand. I'm not saying I agree with it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is what it is.
That way, when you hear the mythology, it's easier to grasp why it, even though it sounds crazy and disconnected, there's actually a connected theme to this stuff.
Right.
So the sky deity is the daytime sky, and that's clear. The storm deity is a different deity.
Right.
Then the morning is not considered, the morning sun is considered the morning star, a different deity, generally female. The night one is generally considered a different one also. So there's three.
Right.
But that is considered to be generally a female deity, and often it's the wife, because that one is dying in a sense. It's like in other words, like the baby child girl, remember, and then the woman.
Yeah.
Because it's evolving and then dying and born as a child and dies as a woman and born as a child and dies as a woman.
Right.
Wow, we're getting it. So you get what it is too, that in some myths that the sun is eaten by the female goddess who eats the sun, and then she gives birth in the morning sometimes. So it's all the same shit. Anyways, but so and that's also why sometimes you could say in Sumerian myth, the woman was the main thing. The first deity by herself, self-created, was a female. But if you think about it from the sun concept, the female as the thing that gives birth from night to day of a star is her child, or is her, and then she gives birth to the sun. In a sense, the daytime sun, which is the sky god, the high god, and and it's even saying so. Which I don't think that it always had to stay the high god, but they were always was a earth deity and a sky deity. But Zeus, it is in a sense in the Greeks,
right?
Zeus, it is all the above. He also is a storm god, right? Also connected,
Yeah.
But that's later. But just understand, that's not like later that broke apart. No. Somebody had pushed them all together,
right? Yeah.
They're going to more monotheism almost in a sense from a total polytheism start.
Right.
But once again, I don't want to go on to paganism and stuff about my thoughts on it. But I'm just trying to show you that so all of this is related. It's and I you see the picture I gave you of the sun? Read the top what it says. Please.
Could there be a shared idea of a sky father deity going back as far as 7,000 years ago? Attested in Proto-Indo-European, Mesopotamian, Canaanite, Egyptian, Chinese, Finnish, Siberian, Turk, and Mongol mythologies.
And I would say yes. But then of course that's my belief, and I'm trying to show you the evidence. There is evidence of all these things having it, and all of them share common things. And so
right.
So this goes. And later, more deities, of course, are made and function. Jesus or Yahweh or whatever you want to call it. El is just a later version, I think, of all this. So, anyways, and it just shows all the different things. And then I list the names because I think there was 3 main branches. There's the European branch, and then there's the Middle Eurasian branch, and then the Asian branch. And
right.
I show which gods I think belong in which category. Because once again, unlike Graham Hancock that just throws out wild things, some advancements, or he also said one time, well, I'm saying that I think that they were as advanced as 18th and 19th century when it comes to charting or whatever. Okay. Wrong. What the fuck? No. Or anyways, but my point is, so I'm trying to show you what did happen and, who did it and how it was done and how it relates. Anyways.
Right.
So, and I'm going to send you another one.
Okay.
And to be real quick, I just want to explain the gods thing, and then we'll move on from the gods. Because you see, it's already more complex than normal people. Like, well, I don't believe in the Christian God, so I'm good. Well, you could still have all kinds of other gods,
Yeah, that's right.
So that's why I totally don't agree when some atheists say what I feel is inaccurate, is that if you can debunk the Bible, then the person's will become an atheist. Well, debunking the Bible actually doesn't make you anything more than a
non-Christian
God. But that actually doesn't mean that other people that are faiths could not be still believing, and also doesn't even mean that a person that thought of themselves once as a Christian with the Christian kind of God, but that they won't have any God at all. A lot of them do that thing called spiritual non-religious, where they still believe in the God, they just don't believe in the Christian God. So really, I don't find that as super convincing, but also because they're wrong, there's shitloads of gods. Anyway, so I gave you another picture.
Yeah.
And this is me trying to explain. It's super complicated. We're not going to go into it right now. But low gods and high gods, and then moralistic gods. I feel all these are separate. One is earth gods and sky gods, and then moralistic. Let's go ahead and read that.
Talk. The low gods section.
Yeah.
Okay. So
well, I want you to read so people can understand. Just read the 2 sections. It says low god, high god. But first, just read the title first. And then the 2 sections, because it helps understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So low gods, or earth or tutelary deity. Earth deities can be at least traced to Earth Mother with a complementary Sky Father in Proto-Indo-European religion. A tutelary deity is a guardian, patron, or protector of a particular place, geographic feature, or person, lineage, nation, culture, or occupation. Lares gods were guardian ancestor deities in ancient Roman religion. High gods, sky, or supreme deity. Masculine sky gods are often a king of the gods. Sky father, often pairing them with an earth mother, goddess. Pairings of a sky mother with an earth father are less frequent. A main sky goddess is often the queen of the gods, though she usually has other functions as well, with sky not being her main area.
Right. And so sometimes sky means star or moon. And I'm not going to go into it, but the original stuff in Sumeria was the star of Ishtar or Star of Diana, which are
okay.
And it's about 6,000 years old. That they found one in Jordan that relates to shamanism. Yeah, because guess what? That's the only part of Graham Hancock, I believe, is that shamanism was involved in this.
Right.
But you need to understand, when I say it and when that fool talks, we're not even close to the same thing. Just
not actually talking about
the same word.
Yeah.
The same word. He means magical chanting that can levitate rocks and do. I do not agree with that. When I talk about it, it's a cultural understanding of a practice that people did that had beliefs about afterlife and spirits and whatever.
Yeah.
I don't believe they actually did it any more than I believe in prayer healing.
Right.
Actually growing limbs or doing anything outlandish or whatever, bringing people back from the dead or any other nonsense. But I'm just saying, but I don't think they were levitating things or even believe they were levitating things. So
no.
Fuck is he talking about? No, shamanism has to do with healing, has to do with evil spirits and stuff. Now, say if you're building a thing, they may say, do this, so you have good things. Buried back in the old days, bury a body of your ancestors in there, then that house will be yours, and they'll be protected by your ancestors who can guard you in the afterlife. Or guard you from the afterlife. Sorry, I said it wrong. But whatever. So that's what I think that, in a sense, shamanism. But he's talking, or like I said, in the turtle shells being the Mound of Creation. That's all shamanism stuff. Or soul travel, where they think they're traveling, to other lands, especially, like I said, by like the Axis Mundi.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to say these are things they believed because these myths fit into what they can observe. You can't you can't observe somebody levitating a giant rock over somebody, but they can say, okay, well, our shamanistic belief is in the spirit of healing is working in this way or what have you.
But the very good point. You're almost there. I thought you were going to say it, but I'll say it. But you're super close. Ethnography. There is no ethnography of them believing chanting raises rocks.
Right.
That I fucking know of. And certainly it would have to be all over the world, because you're saying that's how all over the world did it. And the fact that it doesn't show up, but
kind of points to the fact that it didn't.
Because what you said was accurate. But then the opposite is also true. Once again, I know this is crazy, since he loves to have his great, long-winded things, but let's go back to the point that he has no evidence and admitted this.
Yeah.
So he also doesn't just fucking malign archaeology, he maligns shamanism. Fuck is he talking about? What I talk about is the actual what people believe ethnographically understand or artifacts could likely explain. Yeah. His shit is nowhere near that. So even though he says the same word shamanism, don't think, oh, well, me and Damien, or Damien and Graham Hancock somehow or at least agree on one thing. No, I do not agree with his concept of shamanism.
Right.
So no, and I don't agree with what shamanism would do or not do, according to him.
Yeah. For sure.
Just something to clarify that. Even though the one thing would be like, oh, you agree? No. No, I don't agree. Okay? No. It would be like saying that Trump last night won. Hands down. That would be a statement, but a fucking lie. He got his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
Right? Speaking of which, now we can go to talk about capitalism. Go back to because I talked about how did all this stuff get built, Corey? Was it also why only one soup? Now, here's the other thing, too. You already know it's bad when there's only one or two mounds, but a humongous hundreds of people. Right?
Yeah.
This as an anarchist, we're already going.
So some people are getting mounds because of some other reason.
Right? So only some people are getting these mounds that you believe are the access Monday that can send you to heaven. So only some people are going to heaven?
Yeah.
Only the elite, right? Already sounds not good. Only the elite go, but all the people have to work for the elite. You know what? Isn't that amazing? All the people have to slave so the elite can get glorified. That almost sounds like capitalism, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. All of this, us should slave away so the capitalists can. Just like remember that I sent you that thing. It made me cry. I mean, like legitimately cry like twice. I read it once. I fucking cried. And then I sent it to you. Then I read it again after I sent it to you, and I fucking cried again.
Right.
And that was that rich people had raised was $60 million or something.
Oh yeah,
or 1,000. I can't remember what it was, but had raised to not help a homeless shelter happen.
Yeah.
I just went. I mean, I know they're bad and greedy and terrible, but that's like downright fucking evil.
Yeah, it's just cruelty.
They intentionally raised 60,000.
Yeah, in order to stop a homeless shelter being built. Like,
like I said, my reaction was I cried. I just, what the fuck? Anyways,
no, it's fucked.
Yeah, so I could go on and on. Of course, how much I just hate capitalism, and the rich obviously want to show us that they are our enemy.
Yeah, that's right.
With that.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to do was talk about, since this is all about, like Kamala Harris and Trump, which of course I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris personally because I feel like there's only two choices, and it's fucking terrible or bad. So I'm going to go with bad.
Yeah.
But as far as what I actually agree to, it's not that. I think the whole thing of the United States voting is bad. That bullshit they call democracy is some sort of a fucking hobbled, war veteran. It's fucking a joke to say that it's doing well. It's like life support and shit. Like, and I don't just mean Trump life support. I mean the whole fucking system has been fucked since the beginning. Electoral college fucked. The fact that the unvoted and never ending until they die Supreme Court, another fucking scam. Then you have fucking leaders. Why the fuck do we need leaders? I thought we got rid of kings and then we just put a president.
Yeah, that's right.
We vote our king in. That's the only difference. Like, what the fuck do we need that asshole for?
Yeah.
Me personally, I told you, and it's just my personal thinking that we should have no leaders. That's my motto. No one, in a sense, is better than anybody. Like I said, no grave. If we're going to do graves, mounds, we all should get a fucking grave mound. How the fuck do you justify not all of us getting a grave mound? Yeah. How do you justify all of us working our free labor for your fucking mound that then sends you to heaven?
Yeah.
What the?
Doesn't work.
It doesn't work for me. What the fuck? No. So I believe in direct democracy because everyone that gets this totally, it can't happen. Oh, it's too hard. People wouldn't vote. I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I have ever heard. These arguments, like they're fucking foolishness.
Yeah.
So I see a little picture. Like, people confuse a very simple thing.
Yeah.
starts with the people. And I try to help them understand. I always say this, you're already doing voting. I don't know what you're like, well, it won't work. I'm like, well, how would it work with so many people? I go, how does voting work now? Well, we all vote. Yeah, that's the point. It's
except
that's the different.
Yeah, except it's not everybody who votes, because you still only have like less than half the population that votes. So,
true. But anyways, my point is, so it says direct democracy or representative democracy, which is what Kamala Harris wants to be put on the top of.
Yeah.
So what happens is, Corey could probably read this and explain to us.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So on the direct democracy side, you've got everybody votes on the laws, the rules, the policies that are in place for their society. And on the other side, you've got a representative democracy, which is everybody votes for. Yeah.
About the first part, right? So isn't that supposed to be what America supposedly is? That everyone gets a vote, everyone's equal? Yeah, it's not. So we actually get the other bullshit. So go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So then representative democracy is that you vote for someone who's supposed to represent you, and that person plays a part in the deciding laws, rules, policies, what have you. I think that there's clearly a disconnect here in that when you place a middleman in between the people and the decisions, then the things the people want don't get decided on.
Oh, exactly. And this is not like a guess.
Right. No, this literally just what happened.
Cornell or somewhere, but maybe it was on Berkeley. I can't remember now. But there was a study, and they found out that it was like insignificant that Congress ever does what American people actually want.
Yeah.
They said it's less than 10%. It's almost 3%. And so just think, Corey, what they're fighting us anarchists, where I'm asking, or maybe I don't know what your views are, but mine, I'm asking for direct democracy. Okay, you want to keep Canada, you want to keep America? I have the solution to make me a lot happier. Get rid of every single leader, every fucking mayor, governor. Any time it pushes to one person, gone. There should never, ever, ever be one person deciding for all of us. How does that not bother people? It really bothers me, but
like I tend to favor a delegate type situation,
right?
Which is like, okay, everybody in this area votes that on a particular law, and then we say, hey, you're the guy who goes and tells that group what we vote.
Well, yeah, well, I'm fine with that as long as that person has zero power and is basically a mouthpiece only for us. In other words.
Right.
And also, I would demand that they not be worshipped, they not be acknowledged, that we should barely know their name. Because
if they don't do what we say,
then we need to immediately that day move them out, move someone in, because they don't matter. They literally don't matter.
They're just there.
Say, well, I have to be the best and brightest. Good, we'll vote for the best and brightest to do it, and they still won't matter, and we'll do whatever we want.
Yeah, that's right, because the people are the ones that are supposed to be deciding.
And here's another thing I would say. And if he comes up with some new thing that we didn't think of, we'll vote on if that's okay.
That's right.
Not that motherfucker.
Yeah, he doesn't just get to decide it.
Yeah. Right. If he says this is great, then you have to convince us, and then we will vote.
Yeah.
Because I'm still for direct democracy, and you have no power.
How
did it work? Because they are our power, not themselves. Oh, that's crazy, right?
Because we have power over the delegate. The delegate doesn't have. Yeah, that's right. The delegate doesn't. They're not a representative who has power over the people.
Correct. I have no problem with that because you obviously have to relate. But here's another thing too. I would never have still be just one person. I wouldn't do it. It'd be fucking like 8 of them because it shouldn't be just 2.
Well,
and be 3 because then 2 trade against the other one. It needs to be a lot of people.
That's right. Yeah, so you can't have a president. You have like our community is saying this is what we want, and we send it up to talk to the other 150 delegates from other communities or whatever.
Right, but you notice if everyone sent like say 8 or 10 delegates, the chance of the truth being distributed correctly is higher.
It's going to be better
than if you just have one.
Yeah.
How about this? Even if, and I'm pretty good, right? I'm pretty good at a lot of stuff. But there's other shit I suck fucking. I can't do languages right. I can't say these words right. I'm terrible. I mean, you think that I'm like uneducated compared to like how much I do know about how it all happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can explain how it happened, but I can't write a good sentence to explain that. And anyways, but so I'm just making a comment. So I know that everybody has limitations. One person cannot fucking do everything.
Yeah.
So I've never agreed with this, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
I'm doing a better show, I feel, because you're here. It's not about a single thing.
Right. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It's one person cannot simply cannot do all the things. It's just that simple.
And I really think it's beneficial when we see that. But like I said, our society worships single individuals. It's gross to me as fuck. Especially rich ones or evil ones. It's even grosser. Like all of it's gross. That's just extra gross to me.
It's very strange. Very strange, actually. Especially like when you think of like, so somebody's really good at like coaching football.
Right.
And then they become like a celebrity because of it. So people start asking their opinions on other things that they have no idea what they're talking about related to like, economics, political policy. Like they're just.
Oh, that brings me up to my anarchism. I don't. Once again, I'm not talking for every anarchist because I'm only talking for me. But for anarchism, for me, it is a social justice issue.
Yeah. Yep.
It starts in ethics for me, period. It is like I said, I'm axiology. So my thinking is, well, the first thing that matters is ethical.
Right.
The only ethical way to live in a society and acknowledge the dignity of every single person as owning themselves and have self-sovereignty and rights is anarchism. That's it. And it's not that I'm saying anarchism itself is the issue. Anarchism acknowledges and builds itself on that issue. That we are fucking self-sovereign. That we have fucking rights. That we have human dignities. Anarchism isn't nihilism to me that says we don't have any dignity and rights. It literally says it is built, I believe, on the opposite. And that, like, how can I just like think, as an anarchist, how can I accept only caring about Americans and not the whole world, even if I was born here or whatever?
Right.
Even if I was somehow, not me, but indigenous to here or whatever. Everyone on the earth, as we've showed many times, in reality. So anarchists, to me, teaching, which I talked to you about before, 1910 or whatever, gave us an idea that I already agreed with anyways. I found, that an anarchist, we just say the truth.
Yeah.
We don't do propaganda or dogma in the fact of saying things that are not true to try to somehow bamboozle you into anarchism.
Right.
We say the plain truth, and it is understanding the plain truth of the situation that I believe, like I said, ethically leads that the answer is anarchism.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the answer is that people own themselves. People have rights. When you say someone has rights, human rights. Right. They do. You don't get to fucking say that. What the fuck? So can you say if they should have an abortion? How the fuck are you doing that?
Yeah,
if they own themselves.
Yeah.
Are you saying they can't do prostitution? Do they own their fucking body or not?
Yeah. On Twitter this morning, I saw a debate about surrogacy for money. And like if somebody wants to sell them their services as a surrogate, that's their call. They get to decide that for themselves.
Correct. And even if someone has a moral obligation to feel that was bad, that women should have to sell their uterus or their body or whatever, I would say that, well, I still think the problem is people have moralistic views, and instead of putting them towards like why people would be in a bondage to need to do that, attack that, like saying if they feel it's terrible that someone is ever forced into having to do it, I go, I agree completely.
Right.
But the problem is you don't care about that. The capitalism that makes that happen. Yeah. You only care about this part.
That's right. You're attacking the person who's doing the thing you're judging. You're not attacking the system that forces them into that role.
Exactly. if you're gonna, I would say they have the right to do it.
Yeah.
And because they have the right. I don't give them this right too. That's what I'm trying. That's what I was trying to say.
They have the right to do that.
They have right. So like I said, anarchism isn't invent the right of human rights. I think anarchism looks at the thing plainly, and just realizes the truth that we do have human rights.
Yeah.
And in a society to work but in peace and love and harmony, we have to do food, not bombs. We have to do things that are mutual aid. That's how you become what I would consider civilized. Civilized is we fucking help each other. That's civilized. In other words, they have a natural disaster and everybody just sits there and just drinks their thing or sits on a yacht, and watches everybody floating and drowning and just, oh, fuck, I hate to be them. That's our society. And yet, if we really looked at that, we would think those people are watching a movie, right? And someone did that. That we would think those people should be killed. I mean,
you would see it for what it is. Yeah.
I mean, it would be extreme. The anger towards them would be pretty extreme.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I hope they die in this movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
My point is, you wouldn't be like, yeah, capitalism, because free market.
Right. And frankly, if you do that, if you are be like, yeah, well, let all of them die and the rich can just sit on his yacht, yay for him, then there's something wrong with you, right?
There definitely is something morally. That's what I'm trying to say. So for me, I'm just saying, I know I do stuff different. But so now I want us to read real quick because we're taking this junk for the talk about this. Because like I said to us, the debate just happened also. So this is good timing. So go ahead and read what it says. Damien AtHope, I support increased direct democracy. So he says he kind of supports it happening, but then also doesn't want too much of it, which could be that, which is bizarre. Like, okay, so you get it's good, but let's limit it because that's what we need to do is limit it. Like, okay, justify why it should be limited. Why should I have less human rights? Justify that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead and read it.
Sure. So it says, Damien AtHope, I support increased direct democracy, but there's also only so much that people can or will vote for, unless you make it, I don't know, mandatory. There's a large administrative state in the US, and Trump is making that more apparent by threatening to replace seasoned professionals with sycophants. In other words, instead of being either of your graphs, the arrows are reversed. Instead of electing a representative, the president will appoint people in various offices. And your response is, people do vote their best interest, thus they will vote. Not voting is a vote. Trump or any other president is gone with direct democracy. And if we did the popular vote, he would never have been the president to begin with.
So pause for a second. So this goes back to this crazy thing where they literally don't understand voting.
Right.
Literally, what the fuck are you even talking about? Yeah. What you're talking about is that guy that you vote in is tyrannical.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed in the voting.
Right.
Like they literally intentionally misunderstand direct democracy so they don't have to actually see its fucking value and how wrong our system really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
This bullshit that we call democracy. Yeah. It's a crock of shit. But anyway, so then go ahead and read where he says to me, his next comment, he goes, there has been much study where American Indians, this is a different person, by the way.
Okay. So this person says, there has been much study on where the American Indians came from. New DNA discovered in Alaska tells a lot about them. I am 1/3 American Indian. A true American Indian is red-skinned. There are few to none. Around 400 years ago of Spanish rule and over 200 of white rule and interbreeding, they are brown.
Okay, so I didn't actually address that to that person because I was trying to just tell them facts without attacking them. But I was like, yeah, that just sounds like racist bullshit. Red skin.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
no fucking red skin people. Okay,
no,
that's horseshit. We called them that. That doesn't mean that's fucking accurate. Or calling yellow like you're saying there's yellow skin. This is bullshit. This is racist bullshit. Yep. So I feel that for you that you have 1/3% Native American, but saying red skin and then brown skin, this is just bullshit.
Well, and there's something, maybe this person is just out of touch, but the term isn't American Indian anymore. Like, you don't use that term. They're not Indian in any way.
they're indigenous people of the Americas. Yeah.
Stop using the word Indian to describe indigenous people.
Right. So you could tell and remember, I'm pretty educated in all this stuff, Corey, but I told you before, I want to educate people and get them to start thinking more reality and do that often by not attacking, but by helping them learn. Sure. So what I did is start teaching him. I was like, oh, fuck, it almost sounds racist. I'm like, well, let's attack that with, here's some facts. So that's what I started giving him. That's what I want you to read.
Okay. So you said, research by some scholars provides population estimates of the pre-contact Americas to be as high as 112 million in 1492, while others estimate the population to have been as low as 8 million. In any case, the native population declined to less than 6 million by 1650. And Spanish DNA would have made them lighter skinned, not darker.
I was trying to explain when he says they turn brown. Yeah, Spanish didn't make people turn brown. What the hell are you talking about? Spanish are white people.
Yeah. That's right.
our DNA, people like the white people, right? Yeah, they got a little bit of more blood, so North African blood, but that also was already mixed with our and stuff and our other DNA besides non-African. U6, which is female from non-African, and I think H also, which is also non-African. So, but anyway, my point is that it's generally all those are lighter skinned,
right?
So they're not brown, like you turn brown, like So that's why I was like, let's throw facts in it. So keep reading.
So they replied, true, but the Spanish were also much whiter than the Mexicans as well. So somewhere it changed. If you go to Spain, they are much lighter than those in South America. That's I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you just defeated your own point in the first place.
They don't understand.
Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, some people like you, Corey, I did that, all of the QDNA and explained that. Some people that stuff is just beyond them. It just sounds like a whole bunch of numbers.
Which is to some extent that's fair. Like, I don't expect everybody to understand the DNA, right?
Totally, yes.
But I think that you can understand that it's pretty clear, like, if indigenous peoples of North and South America, they have darker skin than white people, that it isn't because of white people coming in and breeding with them, right? Like, that's not how that works.
Well, some people got lighter because of
They got lighter, not darker.
Yeah, not darker. Yeah, well, because you can look at this. All you have to do is look at the map of South America in general, right?
Yeah.
And you would have to then say, is there anybody who is also brown? Like, well, everybody who's not white.
Yeah.
Well, then it's not a one-off.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the whole continent. Anyways, yeah.
It's not
keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So then your response is, with the exception of Mayan individuals, less than 65% or greater than 65%, Native American ancestry is high in populations from the southern part of the continent, and in Mexico, 41%, with the highest values in Peru, 59.2%, Ecuador, 37%, and Argentina, 31%. Q, M.
Right, no, pause for a second.
Yep.
So they are Native Americans, and the other percentage is the white or the Spanish, which is the not brown, like he said. Yeah, explains it. I know it's hard for you because you have to think through racism, it seems, but
your racist glasses.
Yeah, I mean, and you can have racism and have DNA of this. That doesn't like somehow make you not racist. Everybody can be racist. So yeah, and especially depending on what topic or thing you're thinking, you're at least thinking, is ethnocentric or racist,
right?
Anyways, or racialism. Anyways, good. So now you can read my response, because I'm trying to explain to him, and this goes back to what I'd already read to you, which was the Q242.
Right. Yeah.
Not the Kennewick Man Q. Oh.
Right. Yeah, so you've got QM242Y DNA is among Native Americans, several peoples of Central Asia, and northern Siberia. Founders in the Americas included QM346, QL54, QZ780, and QM3 lineages. QM242 was next 94% of indigenous peoples of Mesoamerica and South America.
Right, pause for a second.
Yep.
So what I mean by next is the first one, remember the first Q gets down to Argentina by 15,000.
Right.
But that's not even Kennewick Man. Just so people know, once again, not that either. Kennewick Man is more related to, like I'm showing you in that picture that we first started with, the Dolmens.
Right.
That's what Kennewick Man more relates to.
Ah.
When that Q came in, okay, like 10,000 years ago. After that, sometime between 6 and 10, probably 7 or 8, comes in more DNA, cDNA to 17, and C217, that DNA, I believe, because the Dane has both, also carried or had people with QM242, and from that then end up going down to South America.
Okay. So then QP89.1 under QMEH2 and QNWT01 came later. It is
right,
unclear.
And that relates more to the people that are now currently in the far Arctic Canada.
Okay, yeah.
Like the highest, stuff, all that, Inuit, or I think it is, or whatever, but all the ones on top, like,
yep.
I'm not real super familiar top of my head about Canada.
Yeah, that's the Inuit people are, for the most part, I think.
Yeah, but anyway, so the people up there, they're the ones that came later. So they're different QDNA. So once again, that's 3 different or more.
Right, multiple,
maybe 5.
yeah.
I'm not sure, but at least 4, and maybe 5, and who knows, maybe 6, and even who knows. But at least so once again, the only water they went was the Bering Sea, and they just went to land again, and then they just traveled all land. So ideas came all land, mainly. I mean, it also did go along the water starting 15, and may have also been the mode of transportation, possibly from Alaska all the way to California. How that relates might have been some land, some water, like both, because once again, it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
So by 5,000, the stuff from the north had gone down, and then from California, it goes down and makes 5,000 years ago from Central California, it goes down and makes Aztecs.
Right.
And then also 5,000 years ago is the time they go all the way down to Peru and make the first mounds or pyramids in Peru 5,000 years ago.
Okay.
So I think there's an absolute connection. Once again, though, not all the same DNA as we keep trying to explain, right? Multiple different people, multiple Q keeps coming in or keeps doing things, and and some mainly is land, but a little bit also water, maybe, but nothing fucking close to a seafaring thing that left no DNA and no artifacts and no, what? And then to say shamanism, how would you even know it's shamanism? I mean, I can show it because I can explain all these different things that relate to what's going on. Where is he saying that even justifies that he can call it? I'm talking about Graham Hancock.
Right.
Where is he justified that he can even say it was shamanism? How do you know?
Yeah. He has no. Guessing? Yeah, he's got no evidence for any of his beliefs, so how can he make any conclusions?
And so even more so, my shamanism matches all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Including, they just did an archaeology article recently that they feel that shamanism was at Göbekli Tepe. And I'm like, of course it was. And then it turned into paganism.
Yeah.
But in a sense, paganism, just people understand, paganism does not lose shamanism. It's not like you just go, okay, all right, everybody else get out. it's just this stuff now. No, you keep all that,
Right.
you just add new things. Now we believe in gods. And eventually gods keep becoming a greater focus and everything else being less. Instead of having the shaman talk to ancestors or maybe to a god for you, and then you get healed or helped. Now you just have a god that either a priest or maybe even yourself could pray to. Oh, you know, so now you don't even need the shaman in a sense, but you still are kind of doing what the shaman was already doing. His prayers, that's what he does on your behalf. Now you do it. It's not shocker, kind of same to me. Anyways, but I'm just always trying to say about shamanism. When I explain it, where, and how, what it's doing, it all matches archaeology and ethnography and DNA and culture and pottery and everything. His shit, that's why I was trying to make a comment, that even though we're saying this one similar thing, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
And I do. That's the big difference. He has no evidence. I have shit tons of evidence.
Yeah, exactly. My puppy likes to sit in here while I'm doing things.
Oh, yeah. So now we'll go back to the reading. So you I want you to read what I wrote about. I think what is done to. Do you see that?
Oh,
talking about colonization.
Yep. So you said, I think what was done and is still being done to indigenous peoples of America was evil and also common in colonization. Colonization is violence.
Right, and we've even watched that before, right? And the last thing we watched, hunter-gatherers, we watched where the hunter-gatherer video when the state was like, oh yeah, we're going to cut their hair off, and we don't want them to be different.
Yeah.
We're outlaw their religion. It's not really a religion, so we don't have to respect it.
Right.
They don't really pray. Remember that? Fucking dickhead. I'm like, see, it is all the fucking same.
Yeah.
Why? They want to change your language. They want to remove your religion. They want to indoctrinate your children on their behalf. Right? Just take your children from you and force them to learn all your shit. And they want you to live in their houses and types of houses and their things and their areas, or where they want you to be.
Yep.
I mean,
use the land that we say is the right way to use the land.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's, and then we're going to take your land, because that's what we're doing there with the trees and shit there. Just steal your fucking land. Don't even ask you. Don't even give you any compensation. No. And then remember the guy says, the company guy, he was like, we don't compensate the locals. We just pay the politicians. I was like, oh my God, see what I'm saying? What the fuck? How is that any different? Holy shit, that's like a trademark. Like they buy a package. You get like the colonizer package.
Yes, that's
comes with hate of indigenous, removal of their clothing and hairstyles.
Yeah.
And their language, their religion, indoctrinate their children, steal their land, compensate them not at all, break every type of thing you said you were going to do on their behalf, break it.
Yep.
Yeah, that just it doesn't. I mean, it's all over the place. Anyways, so.
Yep, it's pretty standard issue colonization, really.
Right, it really is. When you look at it, you're like, oh fuck, it's bad.
Yeah.
Not that it can't be sometimes better, but it usually is ugly and terrible.
Well, and to kind of bring it back to your interaction with this commenter, that was one of the things that I wasn't sure what their point was, because they seem to be saying like there's been immigration all the time, and American Indians, as they called it, aren't still the same as they were when they lived here. And even then they immigrated here first at one point, and they go like, but what's your point here? What is
because it almost sounds like a Trump supporter or something like, well, there's no Damien, no one alive today is an American Indian. That's what I feel like, right?
Right.
No, that's almost what he said. Because they're redskin and no one alive is redskin, so we don't have to respect them at all. It's over. It's done. They're write them in the history books.
That's the message I seem to be getting from these.
Right. I mean, I was like, no. That's why I was like, I'm going to address the truth.
Yeah.
This is what happened. yes, people in Mexico are Native American. Why is this even a question?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, I in fact, not to mention, I have seen people that totally respect Native Americans in North America, but don't think anyone in South America is anything but just like, some other race. I'm like,
right.
It's the same fucking people. What are you
Yeah.
fucking on drugs?
Yeah, that's right. This is all part of the same immigration that came before colonization.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Migrations
yes,
were
that's
first.
right. Yeah.
To clarify.
Yeah.
Although I think the Alaskan, especially the Inuit or final people, they might have been doing more colonization and less migration. But anyways, we're talking about European colonization. So anyways, to me, I going back to the politics stuff too, I'm anti-Trump and all kinds of reasons. He's fucking horrible, terrible. And thus I will be voting for Kamala Harris. And I'm not really for her either.
Right.
And especially not now, because compared to before, because she used to be kind of progressive, a lot more easy to like her. Now she's gone more to the right on almost every progressive thing I liked about her.
Right.
It's like gone, so there's no more progressive.
Yeah.
So like he's like, she's a far left communist. Dude, she's gone right. She's like sitting next to you. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
She's like pushing you over in the seat.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, but still, she is much better than Trump.
I read a piece this morning about where it was compared to being on a bus, and like there's one driver is like driving you towards a cliff as fast as possible with their foot right on the floor, and the other driver, they won't do anything except they'll still drive you towards the cliff, but they'll take their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I see her a little bit better than Biden. Biden.
Yeah.
Well, Biden also. I see her better than Biden. I think Biden is kind of a bigot, especially in his past, he was.
Yeah.
So like when he said about he didn't like segregation to be stopped because he didn't want his children to grow up in a concrete jungle. And I think jungle, like as in Africa, like as in monkeys. Right. Like, anyway.
It's very like.
Certainly that's racist adjacent. How about that?
Yeah, no, it's certainly coded language.
Right. So I don't think she lies she lies, but not as much as Trump. She doesn't do as bigotry like Trump, except capitalism.
Yeah.
And she certainly isn't openly promoting hate like Trump does, like calling, saying that immigrants poison the blood of America. That's hate. You don't have to like beat around the bush. He also supports fascism. She's not great, but she's not that.
She's not.
And Christian nationalism, he does. She does not support that. And then attack on democracy. Well, she doesn't sound like she's totally, democracy the way I need it to be or what it should be, but certainly not to the overturning it into a dictatorship like Trump says he wants to do. And then human rights. Now, I will agree that I think both of them actually kind of don't do great on that because I don't think anybody who can openly say I'm going to keep giving weapons to Israel when they're committing genocide makes you a good person. So human rights defender, but other human rights besides them, like everybody else almost in the world, she seems to be a lot more for than Trump, especially since, remember, Trump is a person that wants to deport everyone who's illegal.
Yeah.
So he's worse on human rights, but I will agree. She's not some stellar, luminary of the human rights movement.
And like your one commenter did say, like, he is supposed to place, like his plan is to place people in sycophants in power in these various.
That's some scary shit.
Right?
I mean, how can that not be scary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's an open enemy of the truth. How can I not want to fucking attack it constantly?
Yeah, that's right.
He's against women's rights. She's more for women's rights, allowing women to do what they want more than fucking Trump.
Yeah.
And then race minority rights. Trump and all his buddies like Ron DeSantis, fucking fool, wants to eliminate the whole department or even concept. You can't even talk about race in college. For college. Like with the fucking adults, oh, that sounds like a lot of freedom when adults can't fucking do what adults want to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, because they try to say the children, which I think children should hear about it too, because I don't know, if a 6-year-old black child can experience racism, I think a 6-year-old white child should hear about why that's important to care about.
Yep, that's right.
I don't know.
But yeah, like, yeah, I think it is important for children as well, but also, like you said, like, how old are college students? They're 18, right?
Yeah, adults.
Like,
right. So
they can go to war, right?
Yeah. So to me, but I'm just saying, so because some leftists, and I've even heard some anarchists will say, well, they're both bad. They are both bad. And okay, we agree on that. You've never heard Damien go, well, they're not bad. No, they're both bad.
I constantly talk about how bad they both are.
Yeah, right. I don't constantly, but I have done it. So I don't shy away from when I don't make that my biggest thing. But I also have said it. It's not like I'm hiding it either.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm just making a comment that it's not equal. As an axiologist, it is not equal. It is both bad, but it is absolutely not equal. And then we're not even done. So then LGBTQ rights, she literally will help keep those. And he actively is going to do stuff. Clarence Thomas wants to eliminate LGBTQ marriage and everything else.
Yeah.
He wants, and they're already, his whole movement of Trumpism attacks trans people. Come on. How in the fuck can that not be a problem? I'm not saying it's the only problem. It isn't. There's a shitload of things that makes Trump bad. And then, of course, he attacks science. What the fuck? They already did before. When COVID was going on, they said that literally Trump was 35% of the entire world, more than any other single person, the whole world, for disinformation. Right. He has literally fucked everything to act as if that is a non. Are you paying attention to the same details I am? How could you say it's even? If you say that they're both evil, it's lesser evil. But when someone has said to me, why I'm bringing all this up too, so you understand at least my thinking. If someone tried to say to me that it's foolish to think there's a lesser of two evils, and I'm like,
but there literally is.
There literally is. I'm like, literally, axiologically, I don't agree with you.
Yeah,
it's not like you're going to prove it to me, because axiologically, I can prove the opposite. And let me finish now. So he attacks science. Remember when this motherfucker even drew like an extra room where he said that a tornado or it was a hurricane went? It didn't even go.
Yeah.
I mean,
just nonsense.
And that was last time when he was reined in. He wants to be fucking full-on Nazi dictator next time. Anyway, so then also the environment. He is anti the environment. Cut that fucking. He wants to drill the fucking, Arctic. He wants to fucking doesn't give a fuck. Drill everywhere, dude. Now I'm not saying, like I said, now that Kamala Harris is saying that she's not against fracking. She used to be against fracking. I like that, but you know what? She's now for fracking. I'm just saying. Here's a better thing. Why don't we get other means of electricity and whatever instead of using, I don't know, fucking fossil fuels, especially ones that are hard to get and we have to pollute the earth to do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Anyways, so but he is way worse than the environment, even if you say that she has some bad parts and supports genocide. Now, even though both of them are doing that, Trump literally is worse. He will have no reins on Netanyahu. He would allow that dude to kill people in the streets just for fucking fun. Which I think sometimes it sure seems like they're almost doing anyways.
Right.
But I'm just saying, she at least will fake the things. It won't be, he'll have to make excuses. Trump, he can just be like, yeah, that's why we kill them all. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's one thing to it's one thing to say, okay, these are both bad, right? You can say that. You can be critical. You should say that. Yeah.
That's accurate. So
it's fair to be and good to be critical of the Democrats.
I totally agree with you.
I don't encourage people to not vote. I encourage them to do what is, whatever they think is best for their own personal morality and their own area, whatever they think is the best strategy. Like Justin said that he would.
And by the way, real quick, I agree with you. And I've told you before. People are like, well, what do you tell people to do? I don't tell people what to do. I tell people what I'm going to do, and I explain why I am going to do it, or I feel it's the moral choice for me to do it.
Yeah.
That's my job. My job is not make you vote. And then once again, like, well, what if people don't vote? Not voting is a choice. You have to
choose that.
I don't get to choose.
Yeah. I don't get to pick that for you.
Nope.
Yeah.
So I compel people why I think it's right to do what I do. And if that inspires people, then great. If that doesn't, well, then that's other people's right to be not inspired.
Yeah, that's right.
So go ahead and say, Justin.
Well, Justin, I think now he's probably going to vote for Kamala Harris. But before, he was planning to vote for Cornel West when it was Biden, because he just couldn't justify voting for Biden, especially in a place where he was, where it's unlikely that Biden would have won anyway. So
to me, I was going to vote Biden because I felt there was even more point. Still, Trump's worse. But the more Biden kept sending missiles and humongous bombs, and then another billions and more. And then they said you can't do it, and he finds a way to do it anyways. Yeah. I'm like, okay. He's fucking evil himself. What the fuck?
Right.
What the holy fuck? But like I said, still Trump would be more evil, even than Biden.
Yeah.
And Biden, I do think so. I think it's basically Trump is the most evil, especially when it comes to the Middle East, because he literally doesn't care about human life. So you're not grasping it if you think that a person on the far right ever is a humanitarian. You have fucking drunk the Kool-Aid. Nobody on the far right is ever a humanitarian. Ever.
That's right. I've said that lots of times too. Like in Canada, you can be really critical of the Liberal Party, but it's never the right answer to vote conservative or to support conservatives.
Yeah.
It's never the right answer, no matter what.
Yeah, there may be a fluke one time when it coincides, maybe, but very rarely. Very rarely. But it was. I'm just saying for me, especially.
Yeah.
So my point is that once again, I'm just trying to do what is the most rational. Yeah. I do not like the system, but once again, do I not? Even like I was telling you about paying people, right? I don't have any money. I don't have any capital, right? Other people have capital. I have no fucking capital. I'm in the bottom. That's what I was saying. If I did a personal business and I hired someone, I would try to pay more than even the capitalists are doing. But I probably would be limited in a sense. To be able to live.
Yeah.
And to because you have to buy business things and everything else, and to get a job, you got to found a company. I'm not pro business in any kind of way,
right?
But once again, that I have to be able to eat. to the way the system is so fucked, you can't really compete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Without doing all kinds of stuff, just like you have to spend 50% of your income to marketing to actually make it. You really people I think that like I haven't finished my jewelry stuff yet because I'm also doing my book at the same time. I got so much on my fucking plate, but I'll be going back to doing that again soon. but once I get that going, in a sense, I'm just gonna be just me and my wife. So actually, I don't need anybody, and it's
right.
I could totally unless I sell shitloads, and then it would need more. But my point is that. My heart still is that help the worker. That's why I said I think the minimum wage should be $30. I don't know why 15. 15? What the fuck? Who could fucking live off that?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that $30 is some fucking livable wage either, but it is certainly $30 an hour is a more livable wage than fucking 15. The bullshit.
Right.
It's insulting what they say. And then another thing too is they say it like, because I know she said 15, which I do think is better than the not. Once again, obviously not what Damien even think is acceptable. Should be fucking way the fuck.
But it's better than where it is, right?
Yeah, right. so in Trump will probably want it to be no thing and maybe back to $5.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. He'd probably want to abolish.
Let the market decide.
That's right. Yeah, because that's what's going to happen. It's not going to end up just like virtual slave labor.
Right. But anyways, but of course, once again, just to go back to the same, like the Göbekli Tepe and the rise of hierarchy, this system of representative government, I would always be against as an anarchist because literally it is hierarchy. My system isn't.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, like I say, well, how does direct democracy relate to anarchism? I'm like, okay, let's see. We all decide.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the end of the system.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, I hate when it happens.
Yeah.
But anyway.
There's actually lots of good examples throughout the world, even right now, of pretty horizontal power structures where like the people decide on things for their community or their society, and it doesn't have to be the way it is here or in the United States or
right. Well, just think though, doesn't that go back to that everyone's vote matters? That means that everyone matters. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own rights that they own, right? They have self-ownership.
That's kind of the idea.
So if everyone votes, it's almost like saying, I acknowledge the dignity of everyone to have self-ownership and have a voice.
Yeah.
The fact that people attack me for asking for that is just, especially the people without a voice. Do you know what I'm saying? I totally get it. Musk hating it. I mean, totally.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, any elites, even Kamala Harris, hating it, right?
Sure.
But the people, I don't get how regular people can look me in the face and say it's not a good thing, or it would never happen, or somehow it's a fantasy. Oh,
yeah.
But anyways, back to the power structures. I'm going to send you a thing because it relates to all this too, because you understand it's the same time about the mace heads.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I want to send that to you because once again, like, so I think if these things are starting in the Middle East, so does hierarchy, slavery, and power. The last one, you see that what I sent you?
Yep.
Swing of the mace.
Swing of the mace.
Right. Forced authority and inequality began to emerge around 8,500 years ago. That's in a big way, is what that's actually questioning. Question mark means, I think that is when there was a humongous shift where it became, I don't know if these first ones maybe are cracking people in the head. I don't know. Maybe it's just a threat to that, not the actual behavior. I don't know. Maybe they're hitting them softly or something, as a warning or some shit. Like, give you a concussion. I don't know. Maybe they're breaking people's arms or something, or fingers, or with it instead of the head. But eventually, after 8,000, become a head cracker, I think. Sometime with that, the 7,000 for sure, because remember, that's when the male clans take over.
Right.
DNA. And they know it has something is going on. So I think, once again, see, it says 12,000 to 11,000. That's the first one. So once again, let's go back to the blog, right? And remember the main first picture.
Yeah.
And you see the Middle East when the shell mounds start, it's at 12,000.
Right.
See where it says 12? It says shell mound. See, snail shell mound, that star. Snail shell mound, 12,000 to 11,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So did you see how all this stuff is like coinciding in the similar sort of areas all over there in the Mediterranean, near Palestine and Egypt and Libya. So it's that whole area right there where I think is the main thing. And then but this has to do with Turkey, right? But see, Turkey's, if you can tell with that picture, like I'm talking about where the bats are, right? The hitting in the head. But remember, isn't the darkest gray in Turkey? Yes, it is. That part that's the darkest gray in above Palestine and those two green, turtle shell burials.
Yep.
That gray part is the stronger amount of X2A.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's in Turkey. So you get what I'm saying? So these things are related. So the idea of this power and this thing could have gone also with this building the shell mounds, is what I'm saying.
Right.
And maybe building them for the elite. I have a strong feeling. And so then later, the Dolmens and the Kurgans, elites, pyramids, elites. See what I'm saying? You see a theme?
Yeah.
Even in the Americas, Dolmens is not just anybody. It's, you know, there's one child buried. How many other people? They're in Shell Mounds.
Yeah.
Well, how many of them? Not everybody. Only a few people. Okay. So we're not talking about the whole tribe.
Right. So there's people who get left out.
Many. Like, well, it's to show. It's like, say, so it's only like, you know, top like 3% or something is getting buried, or 1%. You're like, okay, well, then this is the elites. That's what I'm saying. Hierarchy. I'm just saying, to me, that's what I was trying to make a comment about hierarchy, going back to all this again. Yeah. I think hierarchy starts in Turkey and the Middle East right there. Somewhere in that little heartland, which is a heartland also of the R1b. It's like all this is related. And, you know, it's a Fertile Crescent and most of southern Turkey. Yeah. So, and southern Turkey and central area is also where Çatalhöyük, and Çatalhöyük, literally DNA relates to people that went to Germany, you know, in Europe and stuff, the first farmers. So, I mean, all of these ideas are all coming from areas that I'm trying to show you are all kind of these related ideas and then spread out all over the place.
Yeah.
Right. So the ideas first, though, as we know, come into the area, older, change, then come back out.
Right. Which makes sense, right?
Right. Right. Because they change, Graham Hancock. Yeah. People don't have everything. Oh, my God. Not everything, Graham Hancock.
It's not just a preformed set of things that are just going to stay the way they are when they show up.
And one culture did everything. No. Oh, God. Did you read? No, you must not have read. Or looked at my stuff that explains it, because you're way off.
Yeah.
Or because I'm showing what facts did. I'm showing this fact happened, and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm not just throwing shit out, you know, and then showing how the DNA patterns do match what I'm saying. You know, crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm going to send you another one, Corey. Or actually, I already did, but it's up. Where it was languages. It's up where it says 24,000 proto, this is my word, a proto-North Eurasian language. I'm inventing this word because this is what I think is going on. You see that? Right. So you're looking at that map, right?
Yeah.
And that explains what I think. This also explains, like I was trying to show you, how the ideas left the middle and became other places. And I'm showing you the DNA also that goes with those movements.
Right.
Because that helps, right?
Yeah. Having it side by side is really useful.
Right. So you can see who's going where and what's doing. So when Graham Hancock's like, oh, R1b was in the Americas teaching people things. Who went to R1b? Is that who went to the Tlingit?
R1b did not go to the North Americas.
Who went to the North Americas, Corey?
It looks like a Q and a C.
Yep, Q
That's
and
what it
C,
looks like,
right? And that actually matches the DNA of those people. Oh, crazy.
Weird.
And those people built shell mounds also. Ooh, isn't that amazing?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so but this shows that even like the darker gray, NE is the darker, which is the Proto-North Eurasian language to me, the older one, and that's like 24,000 years old.
Right.
And then that lighter gray with the Y, that's Proto-Jensen, which then becomes the Dane in the Americas, right?
Right.
That is not the same as the Proto-North Eurasian, even though it probably was inspired by it.
Okay.
And it stayed in the similar area. It is a later thing, correct?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's not accurate to say 24,000 is what made the Tlingit.
Right.
No, you're not.
Yeah, it can't be, right?
No. Right. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the ideas, and some of by the way, some of the Proto-North Eurasian might have gone into, and probably did go into. Remember, 15,000 years ago in Argentina, they may have spoke that also. Just so you know.
Yep.
And that goes first into the Middle East, right? And so that's that darker, which matches the NE color, that darker arrow that goes to the Middle East. And where it says A, see where it says A?
Yep. Yep.
And that whole white area, that's actually the R1b.
Okay.
That area. And that also area is the area proposed by some and me to be Afro-Asiatic, Proto-Afro-Asiatic. And that has to do with the North African languages, including Egyptian, so people know, which is later, but okay. So this tries to explain that. So I think R1b goes down, somehow inspires or brings with it something that's close to Proto-Afro-Asiatic. They go into North Africa and they bring, of course, it into there. Right. And then 6,000 years ago, you see it says Proto-Semitic goes back from Africa into the Middle East.
Yeah.
So, yeah, see how things move around, Corey?
Yeah.
And then where it says that's Proto-Indo-European, but that doesn't relate, even though it looks like it relates to R1b people. It does relate to the DNA, but only after the fact, because I don't think the ideas were there. Because I think remember, those ideas made Afro-Asiatic, a different language.
Right.
Family. Then R2a comes in and it goes in Iran and stuff, and it brings pottery, I think, and ideas and pottery making or whatever. And also, I think Proto-Indo-European, or at least Proto-Antinolan, or something that led to that. I think that Q DNA up in top with R1a, or some version of that, just Q, comes to the Samara culture, probably when they brought in pottery, which both brought it pottery to the area. Both R1a and Q did. So,
right.
Who did it? I'm thinking Q, but the reason I think this is why I think Q. I think Q because I think Q is the secret of how we get to Sumerians. Because I think Q goes to the Samara culture, which is the one that builds the first kurgan on the I've showed you before.
Right.
They build the first kurgan. They have the first horse burial, which both are signs later, after 4,000 for sure, of all Proto-Indo-European like burial customs. The Greeks, the Chinese, the Italians, the people in England did it. I don't know if Germans did horse burials. I can't remember. I know the Celts did it. I think the Germans probably did it. Anyways, I can't remember exactly, but all that relates to that one area, that one culture. That's how everybody else gets it. Yeah. India does it too, all from that same culture. Okay. So I'm just trying to say, I think Q goes in there, and I think Q might have gone south. And Q is in Sumerians. So, and the Sumerians speak something that they don't understand. Q is also in the thing in between the Sumerians and the S culture. Is C. I know it's hard to see. It's a little tiny C.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yep. Proto-Caucasian language. I think the Q, which also could have been Proto-Nadane, I don't know, or Jensen, not sure, but I think it's Q that did it, goes down to the Cossack Mountains and makes the Cossack languages. And that's why people have said they think that the Q and the Nadane and all that relates to the Cossack Mountains. It's also very interesting. Whoever made the Cossack Mountains, the Basque language over there in Spain, you see on the map?
Yep.
Which is very similar to the Caucasian Mountains, almost like somebody that was older taught both of them, which even though they have R1b DNA that did it, I think they have Q language.
Interesting.
Q related language. You see what I'm saying? Because Q goes to the main culture, then someone from the main culture leaves, but they end up with a type of language that all the other R1bs around them don't have.
Huh.
Because they have, I think, this different version.
Right.
Also, the reason I think this because they match the Caucasian Mountains, which have Q, so it relates. And then Sumerians, who are also different, I think relate to that. And the Sumerians and Caucasian Mountains absolutely had interaction, did gold, did trade. And the Sumerian loan words, right, for metallurgy and stuff comes from the north, not from them.
Okay.
So there's a lot of reasons why I think there's a connection I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
But once again, it's not everywhere, and it's not the Sumerians went everywhere. It's the people went into the Sumerians, not the other way around.
Right.
So that kind of just helps explain also what I'm trying to show you, movements of things. And then you see that the pink, right? The pink, what that explains is, I think the idea is a parent language in Proto-North Eurasian, not Jensen, but a parent. Because see, I think Proto-North Eurasian gave birth to, in that local area, gave birth to Jensen, but it also gave birth, I think, to the Chinese languages.
Okay.
They go down there, and or the Chinese people go up, whatever. Somehow the language is going down. It has a relation. 10,000 years ago, in the one where it says ST, which is Proto-Sinto-Tibetan. And then Sinto-Tibetan, so it's at 10,000 that I think it gets there. 9,000, it moves to where the T is, and T is Proto-Trans-Eurasian, and Trans-Eurasian is the Korean, which you can see Korea is just below, and then Japan is that island.
Right.
So you and then it's the Mongols and the Turks, which are Mongolia north, and of the T. But if you notice, the T moves north, so into Mongolia and beyond. It moves to Lake Baikal at 9,000 years ago.
Right.
And then 5,500 years ago, it in DNA leaves that area of Lake Baikal and goes north, and then it invents the Proto-Uralic language, which then goes to Sweden and becomes the Sami, which we've talked about in videos.
Yeah.
So, ta-da! That's my concept on how languages happen in relation to what's happening with the DNA, in relationship to how culture is changing, in relationship and going back and forth, not just one way. Right. And also not just white people doing it. In fact,
definitely not just white people.
Yeah. Not R1b. Sorry, not to the Americas. Anyway, so and I'm trying to show that then also the religion, because I've showed you before the religion how it moves. And then I'm gonna get out of this picture, and I'll send you the shamanism one, because then I think it kind of helps when you see all these things and they're doing the similar patterns. Don't you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, you're the one learning, so I
particularly, I mean, maybe it wouldn't have helped like 6 months ago or a year ago, but now it's quite helpful, I find, to have the language and the DNA group together in a sense,
right?
So I can see all of it,
right? But that's what my goal is, to try to make it, because like in when I do my book, Corey, I'm not going to be having all this detail. I'm going to kind of explain this culture did this at this time at this thing. So the question is going to be, well, how the fuck do I know this? Am I just Graham Hancock, right? And here's all my evidence that how I know this.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one of the points. So anyways, I just say, well, and it's not, here's the thing, as it's not because I had some idea of I was going to find, and then I found it, or like he did. Yeah. I just literally looked at all the evidence and went, wow. Just like I said, looked at all the evidence, I go, oh my God, anarchism is so important, and we've needed it for a long time. We even had it longer than I thought,
Right.
I mean, learning history is like blowing my mind, and I'm just trying to explain. Plus, because it helps us to know the actual truth. Yep. There's something closer the fuck to it.
Yeah, that's right.
So then I see the next picture of shamanism, and then I'm going to go back and show you where its origins again, just so we can explain. But you notice, what does it say? We're in the red. My speculations.
Yeah, my speculations of shamanism are its dispersal after 24,000 to 4,000 years ago seems to center on Lake Baikal and related areas.
Right, and that's why shamanism ends up in all those languages. And also how that is a hub for all the other stuff that actually goes all the places I showed.
Right.
Which pretty much is most of the world.
Yeah.
And as it goes to Africa too, really, really pretty much the whole world's belief. So now, why do all the old world's beliefs have similarities? Well, this is how.
Right.
But it wasn't seafaring, white people.
Yeah.
Right? So you look at this, so you see this is my speculations on the movements, right? And all these, by the way, all those languages on top, every one of them has shamanism.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to close that. I'm now going to send you one that's more like the DNA again. Just, you know me, Corey, got to hammer it.
Yeah.
Well, because then you see why what I'm saying is accurate. And also Graham Hancock is wrong. Totally wrong.
Right.
Quit listening to him talk. He's wrong. Anyways, so I sent you the other picture.
Yep.
So go ahead and look at that, and then just read the dates, and so you can explain what's going on. Like start the oldest one.
Yeah,
24,000. And remember, in
24, early A&E. Yeah.
Right, A&E is ancient North Eurasians.
Right. So that's 24,000 years ago. And then we got like R1b down in 12,300 years ago. Yeah. And R1.
Which is like in the Turkey and the Middle East, Syria, Palestine, Iraq, a little bit of Iran,
And R1b 1a, 14,000 years ago. That's over in what appears to be Europe somewhere.
And where'd it come out of? Turkey.
Out of Turkey, yeah. Out of that R1b stuff that we just were
right. Are those two that are they seafaring? Oh no, they're not.
No,
they went on land.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody moved on land in here.
Damn it! What the fuck, Corey?
Yeah.
No, somebody was seafaring, Corey. Come on. Yeah, but you see that mainly, how did people mainly move around? The land.
Yeah. Yeah. It's dramatically all over around on land, more or less.
Right. So, and then next one is the 12,000 one, right? It's R1a. See, it's a different R, and it goes in through the Ukraine, and then the Balkans, and then into from Bulgaria into Turkey.
Right.
Eventually goes down to where? It's good and read it.
That's the R1b V88?
No, I'm talking about the R1a in Arabia, 12,300. You see that? I know it's complicated because I'm trying to show tons of things. So
I don't actually
R1a,
see.
You see R1a?
Yeah.
Right.
Or R1a, I see R1a there.
And then it curves and goes into Turkey from Ukraine.
Is that so R1a is the big one here.
The line goes back to where it says 12,300.
Yeah, that's this circle in the middle.
If you look at that line is going down to that red arrow that comes out of R1a and goes into
R1b.
Correct. Into R1b. Exactly. And that's R1a in Arabia, and it gets there 12,300 years ago.
And becomes R1b then?
No, it stays R1a. It's a totally different DNA.
Okay, so they just kind of
use a totally different.
They moved into the space that R1b was in.
There you go. Now you have both of them. Mainly R1b because they've been there since 22,000. Then the newcomers, R1a, shows up 12,300 years ago. The same fucking area. But that's also the same time that slavery shows up. That's also the same time or a little bit later, but or sometime around then, at Korgatepe, which is the most advanced pottery and all this in the entire area. It's not even pottery because it's like done out of stone, but it's still pretty amazing. But anyways, they have the first mace, and I think authority. Which probably
yeah.
So you get what I'm saying is So I'm thinking that they may have either inspired it because maybe they came in and then R1b is like, oh fuck no, you're not taking over. Maybe I don't know who did it. You see what I'm saying? Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe they came in and say, fucking, we're taking over. Right. I don't know, but it's similar times. So I'm saying it may be influenced. That's they also maybe brought in new ideas and did more totem Polish stuff, to build Göbekli Tepe. I don't know exactly. But anyways, my point is, though, I'm trying to show you where this DNA is going. 12,000 years ago, is R1a in the Americas? Because remember, Graham Hancock's is 22,000 years ago. 22,000 years ago, R1b was in the Middle East. That's it.
Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any R1s in the Americas at all.
Right. It doesn't even go to to Italy, which is still land and not the Americas. It becomes R1b 1a, right?
Right.
And 14,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So even 14,000 years ago, so Graham Hancock, remember, because you got to remember this. He says, "Oh, stuff happened before the Ice Age," because he wants it so far back, nobody can debunk him. But of course I can, because I have all this fucking stuff more than just the archaeology or geology, or almost everything he says can be debunked practically. But anyways, so my point is that when you look at the stuff, what is the DNA? It's not doing anything. It's barely going anywhere in his world. It's just thing. It goes to the Middle East. Okay, great. And then it stays there for a while and then decides to leave and then go to, 14,000 years ago, goes to that part in North Italy, and they consider that to be the epigravitan culture. Interesting. Epigravitan culture comes back to Turkey and gets there, I think, and inspires maybe those female carvings with their legs open. Because interestingly enough, over there in Italy, there's some ceiling art that looks very close to like it. Anyways, so these cultures, as I'm trying to show you, are interacting with each other. Does that make sense? Yes. The arrows go there, the DNA goes there, and that's what I'm explaining.
Yeah, and it looks like some of them, the arrows are going into a place, but then there's another arrow going out of the place, so that there's kind of an interaction of movement here.
Right, which we've already talked about, but right, correct. It's not just one thing doing one thing. The cultures, even just like the Americas too, cultures are interacting with each other. Cultures in Europe interacting, so are the Middle East and other places. I mean, or the Middle East itself, So yeah, because the reality, Corey, is that ideas don't just, one culture doesn't just save us and fucking invent everything. Yeah, like the 1800s or 1900s, like
right,
dude. Yeah, no. Come on. But like I said, why? I would be willing to believe that, Corey, if you could show me the fucking evidence.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? What I'm not going to believe is you're like, well, maybe R1b were seafaring, and I'm like, okay, we're done. In the Ice Age, and I know where R1b was. It was in the Middle East, and then it went to Italy, and then later it went to Africa. That's it. Wow, that was a long story.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, but it did a little more than that. But my point is that not in the time he's saying though.
Right. It really did just go, around
there. You go. See, he's basically saying that from probably 20-something thousand till 12,000, that these great Atlantis or whatever bullshit white fake crap he's invented or is stealing to use to make his idea is okay, whatever that is, he gives a time. See, once again, that's a fact.
Yeah.
What I'm showing is between that time, Corey, the most that you could say it did is it went to Africa, it went to Italy, and it was in the Middle East, and it came from Lake Baikal. That's it.
Yeah.
So, and that matches, I don't know the facts. And so my point is, did they do something? No. How do you know? Because they didn't. The DNA is nowhere.
Right.
No, that didn't happen. And we know where they came from, and we know where they went, and we know what time they did it, and we know what they were doing when they went there. Anyways, I know. Fucking facts. But you just hate them. But anyway, so we're going to get off of that, and I'll send you one more of shamanism again, because I know in my head, I know a lot of this stuff, and I try to make the art. And by the way, no one's paying me for this art, and I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I'm actually trying to help.
Yeah.
Because as you see, look at even with the art, it's still complicated, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's still not the Graham Hancock easy answer.
There's lots going on.
Tons going on. I have to have multiple art to help you understand. That's how fucking complicated. All right, so let's go to the next picture.
Okay.
And it's because I care. I mean, right? I care. Once again, as an anarchist, I just want the plain truth. And everyone's like, well, yeah, but it's boring. Yeah, because it's long and hard to explain, because that is
it's complicated. Yeah.
Right? That literally is the truth. So we're looking at the next picture, right? This shows my ideas of the origins of shamanism, which we've had other things explaining how that gets to that area.
Yeah.
Right. Remember we did that one whole video on that, explaining why I'm correct, probably. Anyways, but anyways, it's not because I have Graham Hancock, because I came up with this great idea that I'm correct. I'm correct because I looked at all the details and then I went, oh my God, I think I understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different. It's not come up with this grand theory and then try to go look for stuff that matches. Like, oh, what the hell?
Well, and then, I mean, just to be like fully obvious about it, it's not just that he goes and looks for things to confirm his conclusion. When he doesn't find those things, he declares that there must be a conspiracy.
Or the stuff has to be older. And the pyramids have to be older. 10,000 maybe. I'm like,
mainstream archaeology doesn't want to support my theories because it something upends something.
Right. But the good news for everyone, mainstream archaeology finds my stuff interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in fact, the guy from Göbekli Tepe shared this next picture on his timeline, and he is an absolute professional archaeologist and is famous.
Right.
Jens Norcroft or something like that. Anyways, so this right here is my explaining but using the archaeology stuff and the artifacts and the ideas that and why they're thinking certain ways. Yeah, like trying to explain shit. So, and you see, I think it starts actually the shamanism, and then it goes to Sunggur, and then Dami Bansi in Czechoslovakia, and then Kolosinki, which is in Russia or almost near the Cossack Mountains. And then from there, then it goes to the Marat culture near Lake Baikal, which is the ancient North Eurasians.
Right.
And then down at the bottom, art, right? It has the ancient North Eurasian, has a big circle with R in it. But Corey, do we not know there's multiple R's in there?
We do so.
How many R's? You probably got them by now, but
there's
R1a,
R1a, and R1b, right?
And R2a.
Ah, yes, that's right, R2a.
Because that's what brings the pottery, and then also brings probably Proto-Indo-European language to me.
Yeah.
But certainly it went down there. So for sure, there's 3 versions that all go to the Middle East. Isn't that crazy? All 3 go to the Middle East. Now, going real quick back to that picture on the blog, do you see that's not what that is exactly right what I'm explaining? That when that circle around Lake Baikal came R1a. 3 DNAs all to the Middle East, R1a, R1b, and R2a.
Yeah.
See, and unlike the Graham Hancock, well, there's one thing you have to imagine. You don't have to imagine nothing. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Then they all have different stories of which ways they went and what time they went. And to me, even maybe what they inspired. R1b, I think, maybe inspired the Nufians, and then they made shell burials, and they also made the turtle burials. So they're shell mounds, right? But I think they came, people that came there with mountain beliefs, not shell beliefs. But then it goes back up with the X2A by 12,000. So 12,000 years ago, that area now has earth diver, which may have actually come from the Middle East, which is interesting, right? Because now it's only found around the north, right? So now I'm going to send you Earth Diver real quick so you can look at it. Doesn't it help, Corey, when I'm explaining it all, how it's interacting and what's going on?
I think so.
It to be great.
I find it to be like understandable, at least.
Right.
It's
starting to make sense.
Yeah.
So what was I going to send you? I just forgot.
What the hell did you just say?
Oh, I'll send you this one instead for right now.
Okay.
Because this also goes back to languages and time. So click on it, this one. So go ahead and read the top.
Here is my rough thinking and reasoned speculations on the early migrations of paganism 13,000 to 3,000 years ago. Cultural transfer. And so then there's...
Right, but did you notice, like, look at the map. Is there just one arrow, Corey, going just one way? Just ask it. Right?
There is definitely more than one arrow.
And do you notice that the color of arrow means a time frame?
Right.
So once again, it's not just one time, then you're done. Okay, you're done. That's it. We're good.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Back and forth and different times. And yeah.
Right? Rocking red stars, right? Like, look, these, and by the way, those stars are languages.
Right.
The P is paganism. I'm putting stuff together.
Yeah.
So the P is paganism, and then the rules of circles, yellow circles, that's the order of cow domestication.
Okay.
Because that's related too. And maybe here's a thought, Corey, that when these people moved around, they took ideas about cattle with them. Just saying. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I know it for a fact. So anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
By the way, R1b and R1a did not do it. R1b did cattle. See, once again, you have to know the DNA. R1b did cattle. This helps, Corey. R1b did cattle and did the first cattle rituals. Also JDNA. So wherever you see JDNA is cattle ritual people.
Interesting.
Yeah. Amazing how traditional beliefs have not really fucking changed. Like in Spain, who has, by the way, JDNA, actually does jumping of cows or whatever that bullshit. Yeah, and Minoans did it too, right? There's paintings of 3,000 or whatever years, 500 years ago, or maybe it's older than that, maybe 4,500. Anyways, whatever. Cow, because I can't remember Europe, but not that important to me. But anyway, so but the Minoans, they had cow jumping things then, and they, by the way, shocker, JDNA. I know. Africa, JDNA. That's all, like, Egypt, yeah, the ones that worship the cows and stuff, yeah, JDNA. Anyways, which I already told you, JDNA goes to Africa 10,000 years ago and makes the first African cultures, anyways, in the North Africa after the cultures that already come in from the other ones. But anyways, but I'm just saying, so there's this stuff, it goes together, which is what you would want to see from when people are moving and ideas are changing. I mean, because if nothing ever happened and ideas just stayed and people stayed, then I could go, okay, well, maybe it's not influenced or it's not related. What I'm trying to show you too is even Lake Baikal, who, if you didn't pay attention to all my stuff, might think did everything like what the Graham Hancock. You actually learn, well, they got all their shamanism from different people that just came from Russia, who came from Czechoslovakia, and from before that they were in Russia, and before that they were in Siberia, and before that they were actually in probably Kazakhstan, and before that probably Pakistan, before that probably Saudi Arabia, and before that Africa, right? So anyways, I'm just explaining how they got there, but it's not a guess,
right?
So that's why I really, one of the seriously irritating things of listening to the Graham Hancock. Well, what if? No, that's what if.
What if?
How about no? You should come to me now. If you have evidence to start supporting a what if, then I might listen to you. But otherwise, it's just plus the evidence actually points the other way. Like here it is. It supports all my thinking. This one guy goes, "You just always want to pick what's right." No, I just pick the facts, and it just happens that ends up being right. Isn't that crazy? No.
You just want to pick what's right, Damien.
Damn it.
You just like to tell the truth, Damien. God damn it. Why would you do that?
Stop that. Let me put it this way. Even if I said something wrong, then I'm ready to change it, because you know what I care about? What is fucking true? I mean, It's like this one guy goes, "What if you're wrong?" I'm like, you act as if that's even a big deal.
Yeah, that'll change my mind.
Yeah. You know what? Changing my facts.
Crazy. What if you're wrong?
Well, anyway, so that's all I'm trying to show you too. And like I said, these stars, these are also languages. And so I'm showing, I think the languages are interacting with each other, as I already showed you before. So this shows you not just the first animals, but the way they went, the times they went, and then the languages. Anyways, we'll get off of this. So let's go back to the main thing about dolmens again.
Okay.
Well, because you see, doesn't it help now when you look at the map when you know all this other extra stuff?
Right.
I know it's a lot. You know, and you see, I feel like I'm really trying hard to explain extremely hard subject, you know.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is that I don't have to actually understand anything about DNA to know that this is being tracked.
Right. Well, there you go. I don't either. So how about that?
So I don't have to be a geneticist to get this.
No, but like I said, it is lining up with what these cultural behaviors are doing.
Yeah.
So to me, I think that, right? So, I remember I was going to give you the Earth Diver because that helps to show you too what's going on and how it still relates to what I'm saying. Not like it's not like I'm adding something accidentally or some shit. It's like, yeah, once you grasp this, and by the way, people in the Americas archaeologists already know that probably Earth Diver and Axis Mundi stuff relates to the mounds. So right. I'm not even when it comes to mounds. Now, when you get to pyramids and stuff, I have to explain different things, which of course all of it's supported, as I told you. Like I said, the emergence out of the mound out of the water is the Egyptians' idea of the Boden stone, which is the top of the pyramid, which is a pyramid. Is a mountain, and then the Sumerians built their thing and called it the Mountain of God. Right. So a mountain belief, as I already told you, it is.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I'm just trying to say that once again, all of it's connected. It's just not connected in an easy, simple way.
Right.
That's really the hard part, is that everybody wants simple answers, and I think Graham Hancock gives you. You can just go, oh, what if one person did it all? Yeah, what if we could fly?
Yeah, like
since we're asking dumb questions, what if there wasn't evil in the world?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you get my point though. Here's the Earth Diver stuff, right? You're looking at.
Yep.
And so, do you see that there's 3 types on the dog? Because see, guard dogs all over the mythology of the world relates to this Siberia also. You see where it says these are creation myths about humans, and see it says 1, 2, and 3. We talked about this before, but I know it's a different video. So it's also 1 is showing you like the little hexagons or whatever in blue, light blue.
Yep.
That shows you where it is. So where is 1? It's up in the north, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't come from India. That's what I'm trying to show you. It went to India. Is a better way to put it. Not came from. And it also isn't in the Americas, so it didn't. This particular version is the oldest and relates to Asia. But you notice it's like pretty much almost Finland to North Korea or China. I mean, it's like all over the place.
Right. Yeah, it's all the way across, basically.
Yeah, all the way across. But it comes from probably late Baikal, as we already explained the DNA as they're doing, and also explained the different kind of movements in and out. And it also relates to the cultures, how they're changing and doing stuff. Like I said, I think this stuff actually comes from the Middle East. Well, a version, this is what I think. So just to be real clear, again, I think the water mythology as a general thing, like Primordial Waters or something, not particularly Earth Diver myth. You see what I'm saying? But something proto that, in a sense. And maybe simpler. I don't know. Maybe harder. Who knows? But a different version, not exactly the Earth Diver to me. You understand? In other words, I don't think an exact version of Earth Diver goes to the Middle East. I think something to do with mountains and Axis Mundi and that kind of stuff, and World Tree or something. That sounds like North stuff, right? That's from the North. Mountains, trees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
This and pole stars and and Aurora Borealis up there. I mean, this is North stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
But then it goes down to the Middle East, and then it becomes turtles and shells. See what I'm saying? I think. which is because, and even like 9,000 years ago, remember, see, it says Israel and Palestine. That is a circular thing of Mesolithic stones, like 6-foot stones or whatever, heavy as hell. And then they had dug, this is under the water, by the way, by like 20 feet of water.
Okay.
Off the coast, because, the water rose. Remember he said, Graham Hancock, that, his stuff will be found, of course, if you check the underwater stuff. Well, this is underwater stuff. So they have checked. I mean, they are checking. And imagine they're checking and it matches my stuff, but doesn't his. Wonder what that means. So it is a circle of stone, kind of like Göbekli Tepe. This is 9,000. Göbekli Tepe is like 11,500, 11,000. So, and this has a circle moat with water and then a stone sitting in the middle of it, right? Almost like it's floating on the water. Oh, remember I showed you that picture of let me close this down real quick and send it to you. The picture from Lake Baikal of the floating rocks.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right. Once you understand that, it's like, how does that not seem like the answer? I mean, or something close to it, literally doing the similar things. Where's that art? There it is. Okay. See those rocks floating, or in the winter time, they like stick up out of the water and look like they're like it's producing rocks or something.
Yeah.
Right. And this is a natural thing that an animist would look at this and say magic.
Right, for sure.
Right. So going back to the other picture, right? Do you see how that thing in the middle, this altar that they have a little water in,
right,
look like it's floating on top of the unnaturally floating on top of the water. It's not really doing that, but they made it look like, or would have been looking like that, I should say.
Right.
So I think that relates to that. Because I think that the beliefs that came down were different and simpler, or relating a little bit. It's similar stuff, but relating to different. Then it became a turtle coming out of the water. Because see, people in the South would like, oh, I know that. We don't have rocks that do that, right?
Right.
Yeah. But we have turtles that float on the water.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Sense.
We have snails that come out of the water. You get what I'm trying to say? So I think that's my opinion. But anyways, but I'm so, once again, like I said, this is showing the Middle East is doing this behavior, something that they just say water ritual. Yeah. That's why I said earth diver myth or something similar to that. And anyways.
Right.
So, and it may be, but see, what happened is eventually, why isn't this still there? Let's say there's like these people, because 9,000 years ago, people got taken over by new people, which I'll tell you right now, Corey, so we can and people can see it on the thing. There was an influx of new DNA, people from R2a and I think, 1b, maybe A2, but stuff from Turkey and Iran. So, it is at least R2a influenced, meaning that whatever they do is going to be like Proto-Indo-European is what I'm trying to explain to you. Because R2a, I think, brings in Proto-Indo-European and pottery. Of course, it brings out our beliefs because people bring their whole mind with them. It's just
yeah,
it's crazy as shit, but. Dang it. Talking and then I forgot. What was I looking for?
You were going to show me it's related to, God damn it. We were talking about the turtles.
I don't know. We'll go back to the main picture again in the blog. So do you see what I'm saying when you grasp that what's happening in the Middle East? And then you grasp later, 12,000 years ago, they moved to Lake Baikal and give them those ideas. So then to go back to the, that's when you end up with this thing later. I think these are after the 12,000. But if not, anyways, even if they were older, I think the older ones were originally simple or different. So that goes back to different. And as you see, 1, 2, 3 on this map, right? Every one of these are different. But understanding that helps you to see like where things came from. Like the only place that has everything is the north. Lake Baikal is the place that has everything, because that Lake Baikal has the square and the circle, red circle, and the triangle. So the only place that has everything, which is a good place to help you know where the stuff probably relates to, or the most important place it went to, which is, like I told you, a main dispersal place.
Yeah, anyway, like all those ideas went through there, and then they moved up with as people moved to other places.
Yep. See, you get it. And so this guard dog, right? See how it changes? So the first thing, it starts off, the guard dog, can't defend. This has to do with the afterlife, your ability to get to the afterlife or not be got by some demon or be punished or whatever. The guard dog's supposed to help you. Sometimes the guard dog is there and you have to like defeat the guard dog to get into heaven or whatever. So the second one, which then sounds similar to the second one, right? The guard dog can't defend. So the guard dog can defend. See, it's different. So the first one, is guard dog can't defend. And that could be that, the guard dog is supposed to help you and fails, or it could be, like I said, going back to depending on the myth, it could be that the guard dog was the one supposed to keep you. In other words, you're a ghost, just like give you like a concept. You're a ghost. You need to get from that position to heaven or hell or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But to do that, you got to pass the guard dog. See what I'm saying? Because the guard dog makes sure just anybody can't get there. It's bullshit. It's fantasy mythology. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to say. And so
these were the beliefs, and this is
right. This is the beliefs. I'm saying, so the concept of a guard dog could be either they're supposed to help you get across, guide you, because some beliefs that's what the dog does. Is it guides you. Sometimes it judges you, like in African beliefs. I'm Egyptian, is what I meant to say, but North African, right? So anyways, Egyptian beliefs, they have it in a sense kind of like a dog too. That I think it's Anubis. It relates to like the afterlife and weighing of souls and all. I'm just saying. So you see how it's still a dog or dog-like or whatever. In a sense, and then Germans could maybe, or someone would say, wolves. Well, it's similar. That's still to me the same thing. Even if you said foxes, I'm like, still canine. Yeah, we're still really kind of talking about the same thing. Yes, they are a little different, and yes, they all ended up with different mythologies, just like there's different languages, and it doesn't matter if they all started from one point.
Yeah, because you're not going to expect them all to be identical in every aspect. No,
they aren't. Right? Well, like in the Indo-European, they know those stuff are connected, and that those religions are all over the place. It's Hinduism, it's Greeks, it's the Germans, the French, the Italians, the English. We're saying that all these are the same. The Russians, the Poles, all the same. And no, of course not. They're all not the same.
Right, but it's not unreasonable.
They all come from similar roots.
It's not unreasonable to say that they all have similar themes and ideas and origins.
Yeah, right. They all have similar origins if you go back far enough. But, and I'm not talking about Africa either. But, if you go back to a close ancestor, that they're both come from the same ideas. And as I was trying to show you, too, ancient North Eurasian religion and language, to me, wasn't one DNA doing this.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of DNAs kept leaving, but as time is changing and things change, and even the language was there didn't stay pristine. It changes, I think, into Jensen. You know what I'm saying? So, things change. Like, I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Yeah. No. And everybody didn't do everything. It's like, but anyways, so I think this kind of helps grasp how. Because then you see why they're doing it. Now let's go back to the blog again.
Okay.
And I'm going to read Dolmen's. So you can go read. We're going to read about what these things are.
Okay.
See, it says Dolmen.
So a dolmen or portal tomb is a type of single-chamber megalithic tomb, usually consisting of 2 or more upright megaliths supporting a large, flat, horizontal capstone or table. Most date from the late Neolithic period, 4000 to 3000 BCE, and were sometimes covered with earth or smaller stones to form a tumulus or burial mound. Small padded stones.
Burial mound. What?
Burial mound.
What? Oh, so Damien does. That's not just Wikipedia, by the way. So but they're just showing that my ideas are not fringe. I just love to explain all these things everyone else explains, but I know how to explain it. What it likely happened. Not like Graham Hancock.
Yeah.
The evidence for me is all over the place. Just start reading Wikipedia. You find stuff about what I think.
Right.
It's just understanding how it goes together. It's I think the main issue. But so I'm going to send you a picture real quick of it that shows dolmens and kurgans, just so that way you can be on the same page, everybody, including people watching.
Okay.
Because I think that just hearing something is a certain way isn't the same thing as seeing how it actually looked.
Fair.
Because it helps. I'll send you one. Actually, I'll send you two. I'll send you one that says I got the basic shape.
Okay.
And then I'll send you one of the ones in England, because then there's a bunch of them, and then you get to go, oh, okay. You start to see a theme. Because there's some of them in England, right? The same people did them in the same general area, and they're still a little different. But you start to see, okay, I get that they're kind of similar.
Yeah.
That's you go, oh, wait a minute. So, all right. So let's look at the first one first, so you can see.
Okay.
First picture. And so the number 6, that's a dolmen. See where it has 3?
Which is like 3 stones with a kind of a stone put on top for a roof.
Right. But it can have different shapes. So that just gives you an idea. Because remember, the one in France, let's go back to the main picture. Right? Go up. The main one up in top in France, right? 7,000. Does that look like the one with just 3 stones? No. It's long, right? Do you see it? The main picture?
Yeah, no, that it's multiple, like it's not just 3 stones.
And then go look at the one in Canada, right? Because I'm showing you. We're not just saying that they're there. I'm showing you what they look like.
Right.
So you can see, am I correct at calling them similar? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's another shaft tomb that's open that allows the soul, probably to me, to go out of that into whatever area in the sky, probably.
Yeah.
Because it's going to access money and leaving. Just like there's sky portholes, I think, in the Egyptian thing possibly, that are going towards different places in the heavens. I don't think it has to do always to specific stars. It could be just specific regions. But they could have had specific stars. I'm not really into figuring every single part of the religion. I just try to get the main...
Yep, for sure.
Because I want to show it's connected. I want to show and why. Not just, Damien says it, I believe him. I'm trying to show you so you go, oh, I understand. All right. So we'll get into the next picture now. This is actual dolmens. And a couple of these have been knocked down so they don't look like how they originally looked.
Right.
And are fucked up. But just like did you see the picture?
Yes.
Right. Like that one has... the first big picture where it says Coldrum long barrow, that doesn't even have a top,
right?
Anymore. And then the one where it says Coldrum long barrow, you notice how the rocks look like they would have been a nice rectangle, right? But that's not how they're found now, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just trying to help people understand that even the way dolmens look, don't assume that that's how they always look. Or like Stonehenge always looked the way it looked. It didn't look that way anyways. But this kind of helps show you the different things. See that 6,200 years old? They built that.
Right.
Right? Which is kind of like a dolmen. It says Kit Cody House.
Cody House? Yeah.
But anyways, I'm just showing you. So but then look at that thing next to it, right? That one's all broken up, right? But then look right at the picture right above that. That shows you all the long burrows. That's what these are. You notice the red. They're all over the place, right?
Right.
Right. And long burrows are kind of like dolmens. They're just like the first dolmens, as I showed you, right? Going back to the main picture again, the one in France and Canada. Yeah. Those are like long tunnels, right? Like rectangles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rectangles. Let's go back to England.
Yeah.
England. What is that shape of that Coldrum long burrow? if not a rectangle.
That's a rectangle. I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just saying interesting, right? So, and then they're all part of the red. We're still all part of the same culture in England, which also goes to Europe, is also the same culture. You know, it's almost like it's all connected. No. But anyway, so I'm going to send you another DNA thing because, you know, it wouldn't be me without giving you the DNA, Corey. Come on. Because I know you're thinking, yeah, Damien, but I want to know who took it to England. And I would say, well, you're acting as if I don't know these things. Here's the DNA.
Here's the DNA.
Look at here. What does it say, Corey? Who took it to England? I gave you an art. Who took it? What DNA was that? Could you read some of those numbers and we can figure it out together?
We got some R1a, although it's more complicated than just straight R1a.
Right? Way more complicated, right? Because guess what, Graham Hancock? The reality is way more complicated.
Yeah.
Did one DNA go to that Europe or whatever?
No, we got multiple strains of different R1.
Right, jumping off. And how many? Do they all go to England like a big mob run, or just one, Corey?
No, just one of them picked a spot and went.
Oh, and when did they leave, Corey?
That
one says it left 5,000.
5,000 to 6,000?
I think it says 4,800. But anyway, so here's the question: did they build those dolmens? No. Did they build those long barrels that were 6,000 years old? No.
No, actually, yeah, they can.
Who did that, Corey? Now we're back to DNA again. Well, here's a interesting thought. I will send you another picture. Right? Okay. See how it matters to know who does things and when? I mean, you know, if you care about facts, you know, some people do. I've heard. They don't seem to follow my channel, but you know, anyways, no, not to be flippant. I'm sure people that watch my channel must care about facts. Actually, no. So anyway, so I sent you another picture. This has to do with showing you the color of skin. So who was over in Europe, and especially like England, were actually these dark Western hunter-gatherers.
Right.
They have, because we have facts, Graham Hancock.
Dark skin, blue eyes, dark hair.
Right. Say it again.
Dark skin, blue eyes, dark hair.
See, they don't even, it's not even like a total guess. We have like the reels and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why when he goes, I have no evidence. How does he get 1 million followers? Well, he explains things other people don't. So do I, and I don't seem to have 1 million followers.
Yeah. He doesn't explain things that others don't. He just makes shit up.
Oh, that is what he does. And you now see, but I would ask you, do you now, after me showing you, I don't know, some details, that you feel more confident that he's full of shit?
Oh, yeah. No, that's for sure.
Right? You
feel I was pretty confident before. But there's no doubt now.
Right? No doubt. That's why when he says, well, they won't listen, I'm like, they shouldn't listen.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the issue. Literally shouldn't. Well, all those things, and I'm like, do you realize how simple that sounds? I know that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because when I start showing you how it really happened, does it look simple? No, it does not.
It is not simple.
No part of it's simple, right? Not the color, not the language, not the DNA movements, not the cultures, not even the religion. Not how the religion happened, not how the Shell Mounds and how the Dolmens happened, or none of that was simple, right?
No.
It took literally 3 hours to explain it.
Yeah, and it's all like the thing is, it's all over the place, back and forth, different people moving different ideas and different cultural things and different DNAs, like. This is just moving all over the place. And so then certain things end up in certain places. And when we happen to be taking a look at them, or archaeologists, to be taking a look at them, they have to fit that into a picture that's all of this other stuff.
it has to fit everything because it all happened like together.
So if you're looking for like this simple answer, you're not going to get a simple answer.
No, you need the Damien, 5-hour answer. And but holy shit, that's the answer or close to it. Like I say, because I don't even do the Graham Hancock. I think it's close to it. Is it 100%? It's probably more detailed than what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Because you know what it looks like? It's fucking super detailed. And like I told you, I try to make it as simple as possible, even though I make it super complicated, because I know that there's no other way of proving to you.
Yeah.
I'm not guessing there's multiple versions of Q that come in. I can show you the multiple versions and how each version relates to different stuff. So saying one did everything is wrong. Just totally wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, yay for indigenous having all kinds of cool stuff they made, interesting as hell. And
for sure.
Personally, I find this stuff a lot more interesting than listening about Christian bullshit. Read Bible verses for me.
Oh, yeah.
Learning about Earth Iron myths, this shit sounds cool as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I like sometimes I like to, stories about like polytheistic cultures, like some of their beliefs. That stuff's kind of fun. And so when you can have like a historical context for some of it, like, and you can understand some of it better, I think that's pretty cool.
And I would say, I know what I know, but and that's like I said, why I do appreciate you not knowing, because then I can gauge how well other people might be learning.
Yeah.
As you see, I kind of get it. Don't you feel?
Yeah.
Well, actually, let me not put words in your mouth. What would you say of an assessment of how well you think I understand?
Well, I think you've got a pretty, I would describe it as a firm grasp on what's going on in ancient history.
Right? Not too bad.
No, I would say pretty good.
Yeah. So, and you've already seen that opinion validated by archaeologists and say, yeah, Damien does. Yeah, they don't really, no one's attacking me like Graham Hancock. And I say things in a sense as wild because I'm explaining how everything's related, but it's not wild because I actually prove every single point of it. Yeah. So then you start going, wow, that seems like the answer. Right. Or, ooh, that's interesting. You do some research on that. Yeah, I hope people do. My thing is, though, was never to try to make a research or to prove any language or anything. I just started looking at the truth, and I just started. Everyone's like saying this stuff, and like, wait a minute, that's not what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
No. So, but I said before about atheism, I feel the same way with any idea that I said I'm willing to change all of it. You show me evidence.
Yep.
Because that's how I literally built all of it, and that's also why it impresses people, because it matches the evidence. And it matches what looks like was happening when you put it all in context. You're like, oh, holy shit, it does look kind of like something that it looks like all this random stuff. When you start details.
Yeah, once you start to understand a little bit of it, it makes more sense. It's not just arrows all over the place. It's like, well, that arrow is that, and that arrow is that, and this is what they're doing.
Right. So, and don't you think it's important? This to me debunks every single myth about dolmens, pyramids, kurgans, whatever, all of it.
Yeah. No, I think it is important. Like, in the same way, I think it's important that the truth is available to people in a way that they can understand. Like,
right, because this is more understandable. I'm sure Graham Hancock is scared shitless to have people see my stuff, because if they think his stuff is interesting, wait till you see the facts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like you say, like, it makes it pretty clear that like a lot of the pseudoscience, pseudohistory, pseudoarchaeology stuff that he promotes, it's just,
or even people like him, all of that.
Yeah, that's right.
Every single time when they say indigenous people didn't make it, they're wrong.
Yeah.
And my stuff proves how. Well, how do you explain how it's all connected? It's complicated, but here you go.
But here you
go. That's
go.
what I wanted to try to do, is make resources so people could fucking fight back.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like the best way to empower people is by educating them. And that's also why I told you personally, for myself, I chose that I want to do something that capitalists would never do and wouldn't understand. I'm going to give it all for free.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
going to work my entire life and I'm going to give it all for free. Capitalists would never understand, well, what's the profit? The profit is my humanity. It's helping the fucking world. That's my profit. I mean, but of course, also I do want to make a living, so I'm going to try to do something for profit, like my jewelry. But why did I do this? This was never for profit. This was fucking activism.
Yeah.
This was, I want to change the world. I wanted to fight back. I felt, and also like an atheism. Does this not prove atheism is correct? Holy fucking shit! And it also proves my statement about religion. It's a cultural product. I don't have to make all kinds of names and be mean or like some atheists, do. That's a fact. Yeah. It's literally culture. It's a culture product like languages. Well, like I showed how they both went together and did stuff. Yeah.
That's right.
And I do that to free people. And then also I wanted people to understand too that really all these religions are kind of related. So the fact that you're hating on other ones is also fucking stupid. Yeah. If you're going to believe this, then you got to believe the truth, which is they're really kind of connected. Or certainly like children of a larger family, they're not, even though some could be so far from each other, they're really not that far.
Yeah.
So I think my point is it should do less hate. And I think also the facts helps you know that racism shit that talks about like the indigenous not building their own monuments is fucking stupid, ludicrous as fuck, and no support in any kind of way.
Yeah.
And I can show you everything and never do that. And use all the known data and all the known cultures and all the known DNA and all the known movements.
Yeah.
And yet it's still, it comes back to what I say. But like I said, I don't really care. I'm not trying to, promote one specific thing. That's also why I don't have one thing. What's your theory? I don't have a theory. I fucking figured out a lot of stuff. If you think those are a bunch of theories, okay, I have 300 theories, but that's not the point,
Right. Yeah, the point is discovery almost.
Yeah,
right?
Truth. Yeah. Truth. I want to know because especially as an anarchist, like I feel like I told you, it's not just limited to wanting to atheism or even understanding like enjoying archaeology or something. It's also because it helped me know when, where, and who started this hierarchy. Hierarchy to me starts in the Middle East. It starts right around the time of slavery. It starts right around the time of the mace being a something. I mean, literally, like, how does that not, help me understand? Then the people go from there out to, the first farmers out into Germany, and they started kind of not real violent, but they just got worse. And then they ones in Germany became the most violent. I mean, but I think once again, like I told you, it's the concept that came from the Middle East of authority. Because even Çatalhöyük, they just recently found a mace head. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. And even if I think it, could have hit somebody. They say that dents aren't deep enough. Okay, well, they could have hit him not hard, or maybe they didn't hit anybody. But like I said, it's a power of authority. It already was going around since almost 12,000 years. Mace heads in the Middle East. It wasn't like some new concept.
Yeah.
But my point is, then eventually, that goes in the Balkans and from the Middle East. Put it this way, it's in they know for a fact it's in Ukraine by 8,000 mace heads, and several different ones, probably to different clans, which I think that it had by that time had moved from the maybe authority that is because it's possible. Remember, authority like the Tlingit, authority chieftain, but you kind of almost like representative democracy. You almost vote the fucker in, but you can also kick them out, which I think we're not doing, so we should do that. So they can do that. We don't. I think, that's actually, they have it better than us.
Right.
So people you think are primitive had a chieftain had a better than us. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, so my point is, I think that's possible maybe in the Middle East too, that when they started, it didn't start like as a total, like hegemony or whatever, but kind of a loose thing where you kind of got to prove yourself.
Okay.
But eventually, like a big man, or eventually, though, I think it becomes because going back to the big man, I'll send you totem poles because I'm not just making this up. Big man, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. They literally made effigies of big men So I know that that's not a bad concept. Hold on. In the Middle East, here, I'll send it to you. Because I'm trying to show you, it really is all this is related. It's not like, saying, because once again, people are dynamic. Religion was dynamic. The whole culture was dynamic. It wasn't like one little simple, stupid,
right,
levitating rocks with your spiritual powers. So, you see what I sent you?
Yeah.
And you see how I show you the holding your dick, and then you go down to the pre-diagnostic 6,000-year-old Dynasty 0 of Egypt.
Right.
Is he holding his dick like they did it at the one that's probably 11,000 to who knows 13 maybe even?
But it looks like it. Yeah.
Right. It's very similar. You see all these figures. So when I say big man, and you're thinking, well, Damien, isn't that being sexist? They were being sexist, not me.
Right. Yeah.
They're the ones showing dick and balls, and not me. Right. Yeah. So you get what I'm trying to say. I'm once again using artifacts to explain something.
Yeah.
Right. That the hierarchy literally relates to this. And if we notice that Sinclair Idol at 11,500, if you look at it down like below those wiggly things, which could be ribs, there's a little nubbin thing, which could be, I don't know, almost his dick. Right. Or it could be another thing's face, like a new nose or something. Someone said before it's different demons. But if you look at it body-wise, that's almost where the dick would be. And if you look at the Göbekli Tepe pillar, it has a leopard skin conveniently hanging like dick and balls.
Right.
Right where your dick and balls would be. Because look at the hands. See how the little hands on that Göbekli Tepe pillar?
Yep.
You're like above the dick and balls. And then if you look at the other figure before it, Eupha man is holding his dick and balls above his hands. Anyways.
Yep.
I'm just saying. So I'm trying to show you how these different times and these different figures and what's going on. So, facts. Mm-hmm. Corey's like, yeah, I hate it. Hate it. But see, also you can tell the difference, right, between a skeptic and a rationalist. Everything I say has to be proven.
Yeah.
So I don't do a lot of doubting. I show you what is true. I want to find out what's true. I'm just showing how it's a different perspective. We both probably get to the similar things. It's just that I want to think into everything I do, not doubt into. Doubt occurs when the thinking shows it's warranted to me.
Sure,
that's all. So, but and so I know that we think a little bit different, but I'm trying to show you that how I think. Anyway.
Yep, that's fair.
So that's also when people tell me that I'm a skeptic. I'm like, if you see how I think, you would know that's not accurate. Have you ever seen how much data I do? What part of that seems skeptic?
It's not incompatible with skeptic. It's
no, because you want the truth too. You're skeptical of what might be untrue.
Yeah.
So I never said that it's incompatible. In fact, like I said, I think it's a good thing because probably I told you a long time ago, but and I can't remember now if this was someone's research or if it's just an acknowledgement of different kind of thinkers. I can't remember how, because when I say things, I sometimes I want to try to be as accurate as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying something like, skeptics are more likely to doubt truth, but rationalists are more likely to fall for believing a lie. They said that. So it's because of the type of thinking.
Maybe
the not doubting. You're starting with skepticism.
Yeah, that's right. Like
questioning, with challenge. Where when I start with a completely free mind, just listen to you and see what seems to build truth.
Right.
In a sense, like
So I guess I think I mean maybe it's a fine distinction, but I guess it makes sense.
Well, I'm trying to help it make sense, at least how I see it, right? So what I'm trying to say is that I'm saying that wasn't my opinion about that thing too. So it was just saying that because of skeptical, it's harder to accept things that even
for sure
true.
Yeah,
we're
that
a
I can definitely relate to
because we're not thinking in that way. We can be just listening to you and be told a lie, and us go, oh yeah, cool. you know, and be wrong.
Right.
So they were saying that rationalists need to be careful that they're believing falsehoods sometimes, and that skeptics need to be more willing to believe when they're presented enough evidence.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but I still think both is more good. We should be balanced. We should be challenging things, and we should also be willing to believe when we're shown until we're shown not to.
Yep.
Which is we should always be willing for that too.
Yep, for sure.
So, but like I said, I think it's important to do this, and I really appreciate it, Corey. I know sometimes it could be boring or seem like super complicated as shit, right?
It is. It's very complicated, and I don't know if boring is the word I would use, but it takes a lot of thinking, which can be like, it can be something it can be tiring,
exhausting,
because you got
overwhelming.
It's a lot of information to try and absorb, right? So it's
Well, yeah, because I come with, thinking about it all the time. My wife is irritated. I talk about it all the time too, because I'm a thinker. I'm a rationalist. I constantly think, and then I think about that thinking, and I think about that thinking, and I think about the thinking about that thinking.
Right.
Some people would feel like it's overanalyzing. I feel like it's correctly assessing things to find out the truth.
Sure.
Well, because you see, look at how well I am doing all this truth and presenting the stuff. It's not like some accident that happened.
Right. Yeah. No, that's right.
You're not accidentally right like 300 times. 300 speculations, and they're almost, right every single one. Come on now.
Depending on the topic, it might qualify as overanalyzing, but when it comes to what you're studying, I think it's the appropriate amount of analyzing.
See what I'm saying? Right, correct. Me explaining this stuff, just imagine how much I've given you evidence to explain it. Not like just trust me. What the fuck? No, this did this, and when, and this at this time, and this DNA, and this language, and
for sure.
Because I think that's what it takes. So I appreciate it. I want you to do one of those. I will put it at the end of our videos from now on. I'll put I put my intro, and then I will add your outro.
Okay.
So whatever you want, but I want you to promote your stuff or say, so that, because like I told you before, I really feel like you are important, and so what you're doing is valid and valuable, and also to me you promote anarchism and socialism. So and you like the truth, and also you talk to interesting people, and you make a difference. So I want you to be able to be supported. That's the whole point of this anyway. It's not just, supposed to be me and not you at all.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, we rise by helping each other.
For sure.
Right on. So speaking of that, go ahead and tell us about yourself now. But like I said, I want to add something.
Okay. It's I'm the Skeptical Leftist, or at Skeptical Lefty on various places. My podcast is the Skeptical Leftist Podcast. We do a segment called Red Reviews, where we talk about a variety of books with my buddy Justin, who is a Marxist, who is now calling himself more and more a libertarian socialist or libertarian Marxist. So
what you're saying is he's going to become an anarchist socialist soon.
More and more, I think that's where he's headed.
Well, as you know me personally, I didn't get fun from reading stuff. I got some just from axiologically looking at the world, looking at how we should interact with people, looking at history, and saying this is the only answer. This is the ethical answer. Anarchism. So an ethical thinker, I think, would get to that. Even if this is the point, doesn't mean you can't still be what you think is a Marxist or even be a centrist or some bullshit. But you understand, this is what I really hope, Corey, seriously, that people start seeing anarchism as the goal.
Right.
That it should be, as the human rights champion stuff that we should be doing.
Yeah.
That even if, like I said, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris, I certainly don't consider myself, some lover of the Democrats.
Right.
But or think of that, even if I thought they could do good, they really won't, or the good they try for is so limited in my world of what could be good. It's anyways. So I'm just saying, though, I really want it, Corey, where everyone starts to see the ethics of it. Why?
Yeah.
In other words, like say they go because don't they always say this? Well, it can't happen, but it should happen, right? That's what I want to get to, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's not an arguable. It's not an argument about practicality, honestly. I think it is practical. I think it is something we can achieve, but I don't think the argument is
that either.
I don't think that's where I'm coming from initially.
Well, like a direct democracy, they act like it's so complicated and like it's literally actually easier. It's simpler than what we have now.
I think so. Yeah.
So you're acting like it can't happen. So we can't simplify things. That will be harder when we simplify things. Come on now.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But so yeah, it's good you talk about that kind of stuff. I listen to most of your stuff. I try to anyways because I want to support you. I want you to. I only watch your stuff on YouTube, not because I can't go to your Patreon, but because I want to put hours in on the thing so it shows up for you. And because I guess it's valuable.
The algorithm appreciates the videos watched.
See what I'm saying? Right, exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say is that that's why I feel that people that think I'm valuable and that this show is valuable, I think should be doing the same because you are valuable also. And like I said, to me, you are doing good because you are supporting, anarchism, which I feel is a human rights issue. Not that anarchism itself is that anarchism acknowledges this human rights stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
And so it is then the obvious, like the people that are authoritarian communists. Does that value the people really? No.
Doesn't seem to.
Do people have a say? If they thought that Stalin was bad, could we kick him out? Oh, we can't. Oh, we get killed if we try. Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Just saying.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right.
Wait a minute. What the fuck?
Yeah. What are you actually doing here then?
Yeah. If communism is so bad, we have to force it forever. Does that mean it's the good? Really?
The communism I believe in is not something that needs to be forced on people.
Well, that's like saying about what to vote. Wouldn't you want to have more rights? Don't you want? I mean, I want to have a whole bunch of stuff legalized, including pot. People are going to go vote for it. Yeah, don't you love being able to vote for things yourself? Yeah. Right? Instead of them just deciding you're not going to have it. Yeah. But yet then they'll say, oh yeah, but I don't want too much direct democracy.
Yeah, that's right.
Or like that somehow isn't the goal. Or what we hope to achieve. They go, oh no, this is good. We have to have this. I'm like, really? This toxic shit where we get 3% the vote? Really?
This is the best we can do. This is what you believe is the best we're capable of.
Or like Kamala Harris's hope and change. Okay, even if I assume that. Her hope and change is that everyone is equal. That's change? That should be the standard. You should fucking start there and then go higher. What do you mean that's where we're finally going to achieve that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa. How could I feel super positive about, I mean, I am positive and happy, as of course I told you, as a mutualist, I really appreciate always as many rights as we can get.
Yeah.
But that is some bullshit that we're supposed to celebrate just being equal. And I want everybody in America just to be able to get by. I'll even, make sure. Shouldn't that be just like this normal anyways? Why is that like a hope and change? Like, what the fuck? Where did we come from? The bottom of hell and shit? Like, what the fuck? But also I think it admits that capitalism is not this shining beacon on the hill. Oh, really? Because you're saying most of the population don't have equal rights? And that's your shining example of success? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, shit. Anyways, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Look, take care.
You too. See you later.
Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Damien Marie AtHope. In the simplest terms, I am an atheist-humanist philosopher and prehistorical writer-researcher at DamienMarieAtHope.com. I am specifically an axiological atheist. An axiological atheism can be thought to involve ethical and value theory reasoned and moral argument driven apatheism, agnosticism, atheism, anti-theism, anti-religionism, secularism, and humanism. Axiological atheists can be understood as a value theory or a value science atheist. As an axiological atheism's ethically reasoned and constructive pro-humanity. I am an axiological thinker, value theorist. The science of goodness, worthiness, usefulness, valuableness, virtue, reliableness, accuracy, validity, morality, integrity, beneficialness, etc., etc. We axiologists have a value consciousness. And in general, we see the architecture of humanistic humanitarianism value in people that we see as dignity beings. Places and things are not. Axiology is a value theory. In its broadest sense, it involves areas of philosophy that are deemed to encompass some evaluative or evaluation aspect. Therefore, it crosses almost all domains in some way or another. Now for a more detailed terms as to what I am. I am an axiological atheist, an anti-theist, an anti-religionist, secularist, humanist, rationalist, writer, artist, poet, philosopher, advocate, activist with schooling in psychology, sociology, as well as I am an autodidact, self-taught in science, archaeology, anthropology, and philosophy. I promote science and am against pseudoscience, pseudohistory, pseudomorality, things that are found in religion.